lined up around this track, watching the horses get warmed up and ready to compete here this evening. Many of the horses that you are watching here tonight will be headed toward the Illinois State Fair at Springfield coming up in August, where racing gets underway on August 10th. Several of them will also be headed downstate to the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds later in the month of August, when racing takes place during the last week of August. So a lot on the line, not only here tonight, but also looking down the road as the summer schedule continues to unfold as we start to move into the heart of July. The Northern Illinois Colt Association Stakes are featured here tonight. The Knox County Fair, one of the oldest fairs in the state of Illinois, traces its roots way back into the middle portions of the 19th century. A longtime member of the Northern Illinois Colt Association, and it's a great tradition. The NICA Colt Stakes at the Knox County Fair. This is the second fair of the season for the NICA, which kicked off a couple of weeks ago at the Henry County Fair in Cambridge and is also scheduled to make an appearance later this week on Wednesday evening at the Marshall Putnam Fair in Henry. Pretty soon we'll take a look at the early program changes. Again, good to have you with us. Free grandstand for the races here tonight. So feel free to move in and take a seat. Make sure that you buy a copy of the track program and get those pick-a-winner entries ready as we get set to go racing at the top of the hour. First post coming up in 26 minutes.
David Brink, good to be here. A lovely day for harness racing up here.
Picturesque day out here.
I mean, we're in the shade and there's a breeze. In the shade and the breeze, not too bad. I don't know about for the horses. Probably about 85 degrees is what they said that it was going to be around this time of day, and then going to start going down a little bit to get into 80 or so this evening. But we've got 10 races in store for people tonight.
We sure do. You know, that like Kurt was just saying, the Northern Illinois Colt Association Stakes today. There's a couple overnights, and I think there's a free-for-all trot, a free-for-all pace. Yeah, exciting card today.
Yeah, and we want to tell people, if you'd like to advertise with us, we would love to have you as an advertiser on Harness Tube. You can get in contact with David Brink either through the Harness Tube site on Facebook, on our YouTube, send a message through that. You can go to harnesstube@gmail.com, harnesstube@gmail.com, or you can give David a call at 312-772-5122. 5122 on the ending of that. And we still have a lot of racing in store for people coming up. We're still not down to one page yet as far as that's concerned, David.
We're getting close, I'll say.
2 nights of racing for you. We're here tonight at the Knox County Fair, and then we're at the Marshall Putnam Fair, 5 o'clock post time. We'll be on the air about 4:30 over there for you at Henry. And then Petersburg, do we have a time on Petersburg yet?
I did hear a rumor it was 6:30, but I didn't confirm it, so I didn't put it in there.
Apparently they have lights.
I think so, or they're not counting on many races. I didn't quite catch that, but I did see 6:30, but that's pending.
Okay, that's on the 19th. Urbana on the 25th. Then Lincoln, our last week stretch, what I'm going to call is our final stretch. Coming up that last week of August. If you see there, starting in Lincoln on July 30th and 31st. We'll have racing for you up there. Then we take a day off, and then we go to Charleston for 3 days. And then we end up at our own county fair, close to home there at the Brown County Fair, the 5th and 6th of the month.
Yeah, excited to be home.
And so we've got a lot of racing left in store for you. We'd love to hear from you as far as that's concerned. But again, if you want to advertise, lots of racing left.
Lots
Get
of
with
racing.
David.
And I'll tell you, the horsemen know this time of year, the season's really just kind of ramping up. These baby horses, 2-year-olds, just got a couple races in them and starting to learn their legs. And everyone's going to be pushing a little harder. And the state fairs are coming up. Everyone's kind of fine-tuning. And so we're going to see a little more racing. So we have, 10 left, it seemed like. Maybe eight fairs left. But
a few more than that, I think.
Was it? I didn't count.
Here, we got 2 on that page. I'll just go back and we can look. And we got 3, 6, 7, 8. We got 10
so
races
there's still
left.
Plenty of chance to advertise. If you'd like to advertise, and like I was saying, this is the prime time of the year. So we should be seeing a little more eyeball count go up, a smidge. And we'd love to have you aboard advertising with us.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to take a station break. We'll be back with Harness Tube after these messages.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Back with you on Harness Tube as we have got through part of it. David, we'd like for people to subscribe or follow us. Tell them how they can do that.
Yeah, just, I was asked yesterday about the whole subscribing thing, and someone had the misconception they had to put in a credit card or something. If you have a Google account, you can sign into YouTube with that account, and once you're signed in, to your account, then you can hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified whenever we go live. If you're somewhere and your phone's in your pocket, and it'll ding and saying Harness Tube's live at whatever fair. So yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out a lot, both you and I, and you won't have to worry about who's broadcasting what and where and when.
Absolutely. It's a great tool out there. And then with that, having your own channel, you can go in there and save into your favorites any of the past races that you want to save into your playlist that you can have. And so it's very, very personalized at that point.
Yeah, it really is. It becomes, you're interacting with me and the channel that way. And we'd love to have you subscribed. Yeah, we got about 330 some now, but every time I look at the traffic coming in, I think about 70-80% of the traffic's coming in through the search or through a link feature, not through subscribers.
We'd like for you to be in that subscriber mode and be regular with us. And one of the things we want from our regulars, we don't care if you've done that yet or not, but we want you to give a shout from the backstretch. We would like to hear from people at home, and we'll give you a shout out.
I actually have a couple here.
You already?
Perfect. Well, I got a couple very generous donations in the mail, and they both wrote very nice letters, so I wanted to just go ahead and touch base with those. The first one, Chris Pepmeyer, who I think is sponsoring a race today, is a real estate agent and neighbor of the Flacco family farms, the big breeder up in this area, and they were saying they actually had a couple of Flacco's mares on their property. I think it was, if I remember correct, it was Olives and Caviar and SH4 maybe or something. Both very, very prominent mares. I think Olives and Caviar was a broodmare of the year a couple years ago. So I want to shout out to Chris on that. And also we got a letter from Jill Marshall. And Jill, it's an interesting story. She wrote, her father was Sam Hodgett, and anyone from the Quad City Downs areas will remember Sam Hodgett. Drove up there quite a bit and drove a starting gate for years and years. And there is some video somewhere that exists out there, and I can't remember where it is, of Quad City Downs, and Sam Hodgett broke a line and had to jump up on the horse and ride it and pull it to a stop, on its back.
Wow.
This guy would know. Brad Dye would know. But yeah, so Sam's daughter Jill was saying hi to us. We really appreciate her watching too.
Yeah, and you know what? We want to hear from you. We want to hear from, where are you listening from? We know we've got a Harshborn in Mississippi that watches. We've got people out in Pennsylvania that watch. We've been in a couple of different countries.
In Montana,
and different things. So we want to hear from you, and you can do that by sending an email to harnesstube@gmail.com. harnesstube@gmail.com. David gets that right to his phone. We'll get you right on the air. Hopefully for an announcement if he's not here.
And I have good service tonight, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, that is a great thing for all of us. And so if you want to do that, you can. Here's a new twist. We're going to try something. We don't know how we're going to make it work. It may be a we may be showing them the next race if I can't figure out how to do it while we're in the race. But send us a picture of your watch party.
Yes.
Yeah, send us a picture.
Anybody who's hanging out at home, having a good time, watching us with some family and friends over, send us a picture. We'll throw together a montage, a collage,
montage or
either one.
Either one.
And hopefully get you up here in a future broadcast then.
And just so we can use all those words, I hope we get a plethora of pictures or a myriad of pictures.
A plethora of piñatas?
Yes. But that's what's going on. We're getting ready to go here. We're about 17 minutes away from post time here.
I am going to go ahead and say, this may be a good time to say, I just posted on Facebook. Anyone go to Facebook. Exciting news from Harness Tube is we've got the go-ahead. We are going to go ahead and post the race programs from the tracks that we're at a little bit before we go on air, just to give the people at home a chance to follow along in their program at home. It won't have to pick a winner in it or anything like that, but they can at least follow the horses and drivers and owners and trainers and
pull that up on their phone or their computer.
Or print it off. They can get a PDF of it if they want.
Yep.
So
and then pass it around to your friends. If you've got 6 or 7 there,
tell
everybody picks a horse.
Exactly. And it's more fun if everyone has a program and can kind of see and they're making educated guesses. Even if just the horse's name or the horse's mom's name, something they like that just kind of trips their interest, follow along with us.
Well, Sour Grapes running tonight.
Ooh,
I can't remember.
I can't remember where she's in at. I feel like I put her in the last couple of days somewhere, but maybe not.
I'm not sure on that. That's become one of my favorite horses.
You know what? She's a fun little horse for a fun little crew, and she's having a lot of good success this year. And the name's great, right?
Sour Grapes.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if she's running tonight.
I don't think so, because I think she'd be. Yeah.
Well, then my favorite horse of the night, and this is what you can do at home, is Hocus Pocus Focus.
That's a great name.
Hocus,
and again,
Pocus,
another
and
nice little horse. The ones that tend to win stick in your mind. Both of those were nice fillies.
That's a Jamaica patent horse.
Yeah, trains and drives.
So we're going to give our sponsors some time here, but we thank everybody who's been advertising with us and helping us along, and we'll talk about the donors here in a little bit. We'll be back with Harness Tube.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Back with you on Harness Tube. We're in Knoxville, Illinois at the Knox County Fair.
Yes, we are.
And I tell you what, lovely track here.
If you're anywhere.
I did find out, you'll notice when Lisa's giving you pictures down that front stretch, you're going to see a fence in the way there. It doesn't show up too bad.
That looks great.
On the picture there. But they do stock car racing.
They
on
do
this
a lot
track.
of stock car racing up here, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll notice the barrier on the outside of the track as well for safety purposes, and the chain link fence to protect the grandstand. And we just kind of we'll shoot it as we have it.
Yeah, this is one of the longer tracks, half-mile track for stock cars. That would be different for me to watch because we're used to quarter-mile or eighth-mile tracks down around home. So, David, let's talk about the people that have helped promote and do some of the streaming that happened since 2020.
Absolutely. Like when COVID hit and the fairs weren't really public, the horsemen still wanted to watch their horses, their investment, their time, their love, their passion. And we had some real gems step up and volunteer to go on Facebook Live and
Drawing
broadcast the
closer to
races.
post time for the first race coming up at the top of the hour at about 13 minutes at 5 p.m. local Central Time here at the 172nd Annual Knox County Fair. A lot of program changes to report, and we'll update you on those as the program unfolds. If you want to make a note of the early program changes, we'll take a quick look at those before our pre-race ceremonies, which are coming up in about 3 minutes. In the first race this evening, there's a driver change on the 6th, Delight Moon, and that will be Phil Knox. Boy, that's a great name for a guy racing at the Knox County Fair. Phil Knox will be the driver of number 6, Delight Moon, in the first race here this evening. In the second race, driver change on the 4, Scrappy coming up. Once again, that'll be Phil Knox. Second race, number 4, Scrappy coming up. The driver, Phil Knox. Third race, a couple of driver changes. In that third race tonight, the driver of the 2, April's Big Guy, Jamaica Patton. Number 2, April's Big Guy, make the driver Jamaica Patton. And the driver of the 3, Michelle's Girl Crush, will be Richard Finn. Number 3, Michelle's Girl Crush, the driver Richard Finn. The fourth race this evening, a couple of more driver changes. In the fourth event, number 4, True Fortune, the driver Phil Knox. Fourth race, number 4, True Fortune, Phil Knox will be the driver. And there's a driver change on the 5, Punxsutawney, Jerome Daniels. Number 5, Punxsutawney, the driver is Jerome Daniels. Race 5 this evening, the driver of number 3, Lou's Mandalorian, Jamaica Patton. That is race 5, number 3, Lou's Mandalorian, the driver, Jamaica Patton. Sixth race, there are several driver changes. In that sixth event, the driver of the 1, Ashley's Little Angel, will be Jerome Daniels. That's number 1, Ashley's Little Angel, Jerome Daniels, the driver. On the 2, Bappa's Last Call, make it Richard Finn. Number 2, Bappa's Last Call, make the driver Richard Finn. On the 4, Major Rosita, the driver Phil Knox. That's the 4, Major Rosita, the driver Phil Knox. And the driver of the 6, Stars With You, Jamaica Patton. Number 6, Stars With You, the driver Jamaica Patton. Race 7. The driver of the 1, Luz Rona, will be Chris Brown. That's in the 7th race. Number 1, Luz Rona, make the driver Chris Brown. Driver change on number 3, Luz Lexi Lou, Jamaica Patton. Number 3, Luz Lexi Lou, the driver Jamaica Patton. No changes to report in race 8. Turning to the 9th race. In the 9th race, the driver of number 1, Roland Roz, that will be Jamaica Patton. 9th race, number 1, Roland Roz, the driver Jamaica Patton. 10th and final race, the driver of the 2, Luzotic, that'll be Tony Farina. 10th and final race on number 2, Luzotic, the driver Tony Farina. Also, some of you like to keep track of medication updates, and in that 10th race on number 1, Galway will receive Lasix this evening. 10th race, number 1, Galway will receive Lasix. That is essentially a medication that reduces of the risk of a horse bleeding. Sometimes you're talking about 900-pound, 1,000-pound animals moving at 30 miles an hour, and sometimes there are membranes that can rupture and cause the horse to show blood from the nose, and we don't like that. We want to do what's in the best interest of the horse. So when a horseman has noticed that condition, he will often report to the stewards, I'm going to race on the medication Lasix, and that's the case for Galway. And our chief steward, Mr. Brad Dye, has just relayed word. There is now a driver change in race 8. There will be a driver change in race 8 to be announced on number 1, Kinky Paco. 8th race, driver change to be announced for number 1, Kinky Paco. So those are the current program changes. Before our pre-race ceremonies, a quick reminder, tonight's races are being shown live on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and just enter Harness Tube. It's all one word with a capital H and a capital T. Harness Tube, with live coverage of tonight's races here at the 172nd Annual Knox County Fair. And we are happy to welcome Harness Tube for the first time to the fair. They are based out of Brown County near Mount Sterling. Good to have Rick and Lisa Surratt and David Brink all with us here tonight to bring us the live coverage. Stand by, pre-race ceremonies coming up. Chesney, you all set to go? All right, very good. If you would like, I will introduce you and I'll hand off the wireless mic to you, and the switch will be on. You'll be ready to go.
David, with that, we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be back after these
Once again,
messages.
ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Go
Welcome
ahead. We'll stay here.
to Harness Racing, the Northern Illinois Colt Stakes at the 172nd Annual Knox County Fair. Great to have you with us here on a Monday evening. You know, a year ago, a young lady by the name of Chesney Engel was our junior miss here at the fair. Well, she has joined us here this evening on the infield in the judges' stand from her home in Abingdon. She will be a 7th grader this fall at Abingdon Avon Middle School, and she is here tonight to sing our national anthem. So we ask that you would please rise as you are able. Here's Chesney with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That is Chesney Engel with our national anthem. Chesney, thank you so much. What a great way to get us started here this evening with harness racing at the fair. And it's good to have everyone with us as we get set to go racing. Horsemen, you may come to the track with that first race, the NICA, Northern Illinois Colt Association 2-year-old filly Pace. And as we listen to Chesney present our national anthem, makes us think of all the folks who have served this country through the years. And we do want to extend a special thank you to all of our veterans in attendance here this evening. We appreciate you one and all. Race 1, the Williams Farms Trucking Race for 2-year-old pacing fillies. Going to be a fun night of racing. Again, good to have you on board as we get set with race 1. Horsemen, come to the track with that first race.
David, we'll go real quick.
Okay.
Our generous donors that we have, I got those up on the screen. These are the people, besides our advertisers, that have generously given donations to help us get to these fairs and do this, and we need your help to do that.
And this list is, these people are so generous, and I added Jill and Chris on this list here too. I can't believe the generosity of the horsemen and horse community, and even tangent horse community has extended, to help support this little endeavor. Thank you to you all. We wanted to mention to everybody on the list here for sure for contributing.
Then how can they do that?
They can reach me. Donations can be made to either Venmo or PayPal. Both accounts are just HarnessTube at HarnessTube. Or there's a P.O. box set up in Mount Sterling, P.O. Box 64, Mount Sterling, Illinois.
63.
63.
63. Unless that's wrong.
No, you are right. I was thinking something else. P.O. Box 63 in Mount Sterling, 62353. Thank you for catching that. I'm glad you're paying attention to this stuff.
I pay attention sometimes. Just ask my wife. It's just not all the time, David. But we've got harness racing coming on for you. Really happy. Again, we need you to go to the back stretch and send David an email.
Us a shout out. This is
Harness.
so much so much fun when we're interacting with the viewers and getting feedback. So give us give us a comment, a horse you're going to watch, a driver you're watching, anything.
Well, and, one of our regulars out there is at CG
Again,
and
horsemen,
Rick
please
Prather.
come to the track for the first race, waiting for Lil Mama, Counselor M, Rockin' Diva, Pasqualina, Sunado, and Delight Moon. Come to the track. A reminder, Phil Knox drives the 6 Delight Moon. We talked about the fact that we'll be playing Pick a Winner for cash and prizes after each and every race this evening. Ushers will be passing through the stands to collect those Pick a Winner entry forms from our racing fans prior to post time for each of our 10 races here tonight. By the way, there are special gift bags for free for the young people in attendance here this evening. The harness racing office is located west of the grandstand. So if you head over to the harness racing office, that is the building that's got a couple of signs on top. One sign says JM Building Supply, and the other has a Schrock's sign atop the building. If you head over that direction at some point this evening, take a stroll to the racing office. Gift bags for the children in attendance here this evening. Good to have our racing fans, young and old alike, and everyone in between. Great to have you here this evening. I'll tell you what, Brad Dye, at age 54, I know what category I fall into these days. I'm beginning to fall into the older category, the seasoned racing fan, shall we say. Horsemen come to the track with the first race. We are joined here this evening in the infield judges stand by our queen and her court. Of course, the all-new Queen's Court for the Knox County Fair. And why don't we take a moment right now. Ladies, if you're good with this, I will turn the microphone over. I will begin by introducing everyone to Clara Culper, correct? Yes. She says that is right. And I know that your town is Rio, because Brad and I used to work with a racing steward who grew up in Rio. His name is Ben Wessels. Ben has retired down to Florida now, if I remember correctly. But that was where I learned, because I look at it, my first instinct years ago was to say Rio. Ben said, no, that is pronounced Rio. Well, let's meet our queen, Clara, and then she will introduce everyone to the Junior Miss and Little Miss. Clara, good to have you with us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clara Culper, and I am the 2023 Miss Knox County Fair Queen.
Hello, everyone. I am Dakota Detmers, the 2023 Junior Miss Knox County Fair Queen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ellie Dare, and I'm your 2023 Little Miss Knox County Fair Queen.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, ladies, one and all. Clara, Dakota, and Ellie, good to have them with us. They will be assisting with presentations to our winning connections down trackside here near the start-finish line throughout the course of this racing program. By the way, a lot of fairs you go to, the winning racehorse will receive a blanket. Well, here this evening, we do a little different twist for our winning connections. Each winning racehorse, the owners and trainers, all those winning connections, they will receive a cooler. Some of them are flexible coolers, some are made more of a harder substance, but coolers just like you want to throw your favorite beverage in and keep it cold, and the coolers have a Knox County Fair logo on them. That will be the trophy that goes to our winners here of these 10 races tonight. Horsemen, a reminder, given the fact that we have 9 sets of saddle pad numbers and we've got 10 races, and we look at that 10th race, there is a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3 programmed for race 10. So those of you in the early races this evening, once you're done, if you could return a 1, a 2, and a 3 over near the racing office, that way those horsemen in race 10 can swing over there and pick it up for that 10th and final race. Again, horsemen, come to the track, race 1. Field forming up for the post parade down on the east end of the racetrack. That means good news. That means race number 1. Starters are out getting ready to parade to the post here at the 172nd Knox County Fair. All set to go.
Okay, David, real quick, let's go over ours as they have that. The horse I'm most familiar with here Again, we go to our favorites because we've seen them in Carlinville, Decatur, Martinsville, and
Let's meet the
Rushville.
starters for the first race. No
Counselor in.
scratches, a field of
Counselor in
6
for
as
sure.
program. Thanks to our friends at Williams Farms Trucking. They are the official sponsor of the Knox County Fair cooler that goes to the winning connections here in this NICA, Northern Illinois Colt Association 2-year-old filly pace. Remember, the NICA races are restricted to Illinois-bred horses. Number 1 is Lil Mama, owned, trained, and driven by Jerome Daniels out of Springfield. Number 2, Counselor M, owned by David Williams of Byron, Mississippi, owned also by Kajavian Jaquez Carter of Clinton, Mississippi, trained and driven by Jamaica Patton. 3 is Rockin' Diva, owned by Jermaine Spann of Ridgeland, Mississippi, trained by Jerry Blunt, the driver Richard Finn. 4, Pasqualina, is owned by Elgio Boccia of Chicago Heights, Illinois, trained by Mike Rogers. In fact, Mike is in the bike. Number 5 is Sunado, owned by Sarah Potts of Grant Park. Steve Searle trains Wyatt Avanetti, the driver. And 6, Delight Moon, is owned by Glenn Bauman of Mulkey Town, Benita Simmons of Springfield, trained by Tom Simmons, and the driver will be Phil Knox. Thanks again to our friends at Harness Tube here this evening. Good to have Steve and Lisa Surratt and David Brink all on hand bringing us the live coverage. Again, if you've got friends who can't be here in person tonight, send them a text message, give them a call, tell them to go to youtube.com, and in the search field, just enter Harness Tube, and Steve and Lisa and David will bring them all the action.
David, we'll go back again. Counselor M, we've seen several times this season, and a couple of firsts on Counselor M,
You know,
a 3, a 4, and a 5.
In that horse specifically, Kurt announced it, or somewhere, maybe it was Ed at Carlinville, somewhere announced, it was named after the breeder, Fairmeadow Farms, of the late Carl Becker, Kurt's father, and M is a counselor being his
Horses have
granddaughter.
reached the starting gate for the first race, and the gate is rolling.
A little sentimental.
Our starters this evening, you've got Mitch Titus, your official starter. He is positioned in the chair that faces out the rear window of the starting gate. His dad, Mike Titus, is at the steering wheel of the starting gate. They've got this field of 2-year-old pacing fillies in tow at the west end of the racetrack, getting ready to go racing. Again, pick a winner after each and every race. There are 3 young pick-a-winner ushers passing through the stands to collect those pick-a-winner entries for each and every race as we move throughout the card tonight. So get those entries in for race 1. We will draw for $10 after the race. If you pick the horse who ends up winning and we draw your name out of the bucket, you will take home $10. Lil Mama off stride behind the gate, and also some difficulty there as they come down to the start with one of our 2-year-old pacing fillies, and that being Wyatt Avanetti with Sunado. The rest are off and pacing, and there goes Counselor M out for the early lead. Rockin' Diva has broken stride. Rockin' Diva on a break. Delight Moon's going to move up a close second around the first turn. Pasqualina will go third as they move off the turn and onto the backstretch now, and then Sunado, and Sunado has scooted up the inside in fourth. Meanwhile, here's a challenge and change for the lead. Delight Moon moves up on the outside and has the lead as they approach and move by the quarter-mile mark. It is Delight Moon, the leader. Delight Moon cruises on by, opens up by 3 lengths for Phil Knox, as Counselor M is now second, then a gap of 6 lengths to Pasqualina in third. Sunado is fourth. 33 and 1 was the time for the opening quarter, 33 and 1/5 seconds. And then further back, Lil Mama is next to last. Got a lot of ground to make up, about 15 lengths off the lead after breaking stride prior to the start of the race. And Rockin' Diva is another 10 lengths behind her. They are halfway home. Each race tonight, 1 mile in distance. This is, of course, a half-mile racetrack that is home both to motorsports and to horse racing. Good to have both kinds of horsepower at the fair this week. And it is Delight Moon who shows the way and leads it by a length and a half over Counselor M. 103 and 4 for the first half mile. 103 and 4. Dan Husinkveld and Rick Flacco and Tabby Flacco are manning the stopwatches, keeping track of the times here this evening. And headed up the backstretch we go, moving from east to west. Delight Moon is your leader for Phil Knox at the Knox County Fair. Delight Moon leading Counselor M, but only by 2 lengths, and a gap of 2 more to Pasqualina, who's third toward the inside by just ahead as the field moves on by the 3/4 mile mark and heads on to the final turn. Lil Mama and Sunado come next, and Rockin' Diva is last. 1:38 and 3, the time at the 3 quarters, 1:38 and 3. Delight Moon is the leader, and Delight Moon leads by 3, by 4, by 5. Back to Counselor M in second, and a gap of 8 more lengths to Pasqualina in third. It is Delight Moon, a 16th of a mile to go. Hanging tough here with a 2.5 length lead to Counselor M in second. It is Delight Moon, Phil Knox in the race bike to win the opener, taking the Williams Farms trucking race in the NICA for 2-year-old pacing fillies. Won it by 3.5 lengths on the line. Delight Moon, your winner, and then it was Counselor M home second, Pasqualina across the line third, Sunado fourth, Lil Mama fifth, and Rockin' Diva finished in sixth. 2:07 and 4 was the time for the 1 mile distance. 2:07 and 4. That is 2 minutes 7 and 4/5 seconds. We'll meet the winner. We'll present the cooler to the winning connections. We'll play pick a winner. And in the meantime, horsemen, you may come to the track with race 2.
David,
First pick a winner draw of the evening. The first $10 of the night goes to Robert Meyer. Where are you, Robert? Give us a wave, and we'll have the ushers bring you the $10 that you have won here in the. There he is. Robert's right down here near the start-finish line. Got a good position down toward the lower seating area of the grandstand. Robert Meyer wins the $10 to get us started in the first pick-a-winner draw. Here comes the Queen and her court. We heard from Clara Kulper, Dakota Detmers, and Ellie Dare a moment ago. They join our speed superintendents, Rick and Tabby Flacco, and they are coming trackside to offer congratulations to our winner and to present the first of those Knox County Fair coolers that will go to our winners. How about a hand for Delight Moon, Phil Knox? What about here in Knox County? Are there any Chicago Cub fans? Yeah? There's a few of you. Well, we mentioned that because your winning driver, Phil Knox, we saw him wearing a Cubs t-shirt at a fair earlier this summer. So if you like the Cubs, Phil Knox is part of that same group. And we mentioned earlier that Phil has the ideal name to be competing at the Knox County Fair, as his last name is indeed Knox, K-N-O-X. He receives congratulations now, and congratulations to owners Glenn Bauman of Mulkeytown. That's way down in southern Illinois, and Benita Simmons of Springfield, the trainer Tom Simmons. Phil Knox, you have the name, and you've got the win, buddy. Congratulations. Phil grew up in a racing family. He grew up taking care of racehorses for his late father, Bob Knox, who raced a lot of horses at the Illinois fairs and on the Chicago Parimutuel circuit. That's 2 wins for that 2-year-old filly, by the way, Delight Moon, who is by Hypnotic Blue Chip, the winner bred by Kyle Houston of Altamont, Illinois. We'll take a look at the full field rundown and recap the first race here in just a moment. Thanks again to our friends at Williams Farms Trucking, the sponsor of that first race.
David, as we've got the finishes up there, I want to remind people those are the unofficial finishes at that time. We're just trying to get them up on the screen as fast as we can.
Yes. This is just a convenience for the horseman. It's not official until it comes out of Kurt's mouth because he talks to the judge.
Well, that came out of Kurt's mouth.
The official announcement comes out of Kurt's mouth because we have headphones on and we can't hear all the discussions that happen.
Yeah. We try to stay out of those. I try to bring the mics down. I know that they were looking at some stuff on that race, and we've decided that 10 seconds is about all we're going to do as far as replays concerned.
Here is the full field rundown for that first race. By the way, our trackside winner's circle photographer, Denise Titus of Charleston. Let's give you the full field rundown for race 1. Lil Mama finished 5. Counselor M was the runner-up. Rockin' Diva finished 6. Pasqualina 3. Sunado finished 4. And Delight Moon was the winner. The opening quarter, 32-1. The first half mile, 103-4. 3 quarters, 138 3/5. The time for the mile, 2:07 and 4. That 2-year-old pacing filly rolled home with the last quarter in 29 and 1/5 seconds for a mile in 2:07 and 4. And by a fifth of a second, that is a personal best for her, a new lifetime record. It reads down 5:26.341. Second race is on the way, brought to you by Purley Farms. It is the first division of the 2-year-old colt pace. A reminder, the driver of the 4, Scrappy, coming up, Phil Knox. Number 4, Scrappy coming up. Make the driver Phil Knox.
All right, David, with that, we do have the official results in for that race, and a pretty good race. It was a nice tight pack.
And that last quarter, 29 and 1, was pretty big for, that was a nice little quarter, nice little race. Phil, picked up the drive and kind of just took things his way and got the fractions he wanted, and didn't have to work too hard once he moved past Jamaica on the backstretch going to the quarter pole, but
Trainer driver Jerome Daniels, report to the infield judges stand immediately, please. Trainer driver Jerome Daniels, report to the infield judges stand immediately, please. One note regarding those gift bags for the children that we talked about here this evening. They are going to bring those gift bags from the racing office over to the grandstand, so they will be available in the grandstand. Someone alertly noted, we just talked to Tabby Flacco a moment ago, she said, just the way things are set up here at the Knox County Fair, the horses enter and exit the track through an opening in that outside guardrail right west of the grandstand, right next to the racing office. So she said, on second thought, instead of having the kids try to cross that path with all of that activity going on with the horses coming onto and off of the track, let's bring those gift bags over to the grandstand, and that indeed makes a lot of sense. So well done there. By the way, you have got some of the most friendly people here in Knox County. I don't know how many folks I've had a chance to talk to just from the time I parked the car at around 4 p.m. One of our favorites, there was a lady who had just driven through, entered the fairgrounds through the front gate. She parked her minivan, and she said, I'm here to enter some items in the exhibit hall. And she said, I'm not even sure where to go. Turned out it has been 20 years since this individual has exhibited here at the fair, and it is fantastic to hear folks who maybe have been away for a while, to hear them come back and get involved in the fair once again. So I think it's shaping up, folks. You're about to have a fantastic fair week here in Knox County, and we're getting ready for our second harness race of the night.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Midwest.
Oh, David, the side things that we talk about up here.
Gotta love it.
Hey, if you want to have an interest in the horse, you can own as little as 1% of a horse, correct?
Yeah, we were just talking about ways you can get into this business, and we have the commercial for the stable.ca up there in Canada, and they have the opportunity where you can just buy 1% or more of a horse and follow it, race all year long, and they say buy little, love it a lot. It's kind of a cool saying. But alternatively, if you're local, if you're in Illinois, the Labor Day, we're going to have there's a couple sales coming up actually. I think it's the Saturday or Sunday before Labor Day. We have the Land of Lincoln sale at Walker Standardbreds, followed by Labor Day and Monday, the Illini Classic on the State Fairgrounds. And either of those places are public auctions. You can go and bid on a horse if you like the look of it, or find a trainer you like, you trust, and talk to them, see who they're looking at, see if you can get in one of their buys. Just open the dialogue with anybody. We'll try to point you in the right direction.
Absolutely, and you can have a trainer and a horse that you're not living by.
Absolutely.
As an example of one of our, the horse we talk about sour grapes. The owner is actually from Arizona.
Bullhead City, Arizona, I think is what. It's one of those things where, with what we're doing with the onset of streaming and whatnot. There's other services that do the parimutuel tracks. You can watch your horse race from your living room pretty easily anymore, and it's a lot nicer to follow it when you can kind of interact that way and not have to drive hours and hours and hours to the track, or just miss the race altogether and wait for the next day.
And it's addicting, folks. I will tell you, we have watched for a long time, but it is. Now that we're personally involved with it, the more personal you get in with it, the more you want to be involved in harness racing.
There's a joke among the horsemen that once the bug bites you, you never get out. I mean, you might not have a horse for 20 years, but if the opportunity comes and you can get in and when you can afford it, it's a love. You fall in love with it and you can't get out. It's a community. The people are so tight knit and help each other out. It's really kind of cool.
I was going to say I picked. Let's see, who did I pick? Counselor M finished second.
Once again, a reminder to Jerome Daniels. Jerome, we need to see you here at the infield judges stand on the infield near the start-finish line. Jerome Daniels to the judges stand here on the infield near the start-finish line.
But in this race, I'm going to go with Michelle's Girl Crush.
Well, you're on race 3,
No,
I think.
Excuse me, wrong race. I'm moving over Big Guy, or no, Scrappy coming up. That's a horse we have seen several times.
And
got
it's
a couple
nice
of firsts,
horse.
couple of seconds.
And you're probably a safe pick there. I have to cheer for my own horse, the one horse, Wizard Shark. I am a part owner of with my brother and Troy and Kevin Market over there in Mount Sterling. So he's stubborn, but he's got some talent. So we're being a little patient with him. But
now is this horse's second race out or first
second?
Race?
Yeah.
Rushville was the first race.
Rushville was first, and he was in to qualify at Springfield, and they rained and canceled that race. So this is only his second race, and it's one of those things. They're babies, and he's obstinate, and So I see a horseman in the infield. Is that good? I think we're okay.
Yep, we're fine.
I saw a horseman walking across the infield on the camera.
Just about set to go as soon as we have number 5, Rock On Big Star. We will be set. 10 races here this evening, so a lot of these horsemen have commitments both early in the program and later in the program. And one of those horsemen is Richard Finn, who's the driver of number 5, Rock On Big Star. He drives for trainer Jerry Blunt here in race number 2. At the same time, Richard had a horse of his own that he needed to get warmed up for a race later in the card. So that is why we understand horsemen have a lot going on. It's a very busy evening for a lot of those men and women back there in the stable area. And as a result, our presiding judge, Mr. Brad Dye, has reminded us, let's be patient and give the horsemen time to do the work that they need to do, especially when it comes to those warm-up miles. Make sure those horses are properly warmed up, limbered up, and ready to go for those races coming up later in the card.
Dave, we want to remind people to, David, to go to harnesstube@gmail.com, send an email, send us a picture of you watching the races and the crew watching the races.
Yeah.
Take a selfie or a group photo, whatever, send it to us, or just send a comment.
Or post it to our Facebook, anything like that, and we'll, you know, if my phone dings and you want to shout out or you're watching us, I'll mention it if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it when people shout out to us, and we know there's actually people out there watching or listening. We know that the Horse Barn watches because they can't all the time get up to the track.
Can't see or hear, you know, perfectly from the Horse Barn sometime, or you're in a stall. Oh, there's Sharky stopped.
Well, one of your buddies is going to go back.
Well, it looks like, JP or Y or somebody's going to go try to help Doug.
We'll see what happens here. I mean, that's the interesting thing with horses is, you know, they do.
Denise Titus, contact Tina Schrock. Please, Denise, contact Tina. Thank you.
And so is he still back there? I'll take a...
They're kind of looping around him, trying to get him to follow along, the other horses.
Yep, it looks like you're still having some difficulties back there, but
by the time I hopped down there and ran over there, I think they'd probably have him moving, or I'd run and help.
Well, Doug's off the cart.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to.
Last horse entering the track. Race number 2, starters are out.
Keep walking.
Folks, if you are a broadcaster in harness racing and you also are an owner in harness racing, you've got a lot going on yourself, and we couldn't help but notice our own David Brink, who is positioned here in the infield judges stand right alongside of Steve Surratt, bringing us the live coverage of tonight's racing on Harness Tube. David is one of the owners of number 1 Wizard Shark, and David looked over and he noticed that Wizard Shark had pulled up there at the exit of the first turn near the starting gate. Looked like equipment adjustment was needed as brother Doug Bowen climbed off the race bike, walked around toward the head of the horse, and noticed that Mr. Brink was paying close attention, but he flashed a smile. Everything is okay, and in fact, here comes the post parade now. Let's meet the starters. First division of the 2-year-old colt pace for the Northern Illinois Colt Association, race 2 in your program. Our race sponsor, Purley Farms. Number 1 is Wizard Shark, owned by Doug Bowen of Mount Sterling, David Brink also of Mount Sterling, and even more Mount Sterling residents, Troy and Kevin Markert, trained by Doug Bowen. Doug is in the bike. 2 is Vertical Speed, owned by Kevin Miller of Arthur, who's also the trainer. Brian Lohman of Broadlands, the co-owner, along with Bert Hawksprung of Elburn and Daryl Miller of Arthur, the trainer. Kevin Miller, the driver, Wyatt Avenetti. 3 is Move Over Big Guy, owned by the Flacco family farms of Alexis, of Dr. Richard and Arlene Flacco, and Rick and Tabby Flacco, and co-owned by the trainer driver Jim Molitor of Chicago. Number 4 is Scrappy Coming Up, owned and trained by Leroy Hunt of Jackson, Tennessee. The co-owner Milton Greer, also out of Jackson, Tennessee. Contrary to the program, the driver Phil Knox, who goes for a driving double to start the card tonight. And number 5 is Rock On Big Star, owned and trained by Jerry Blunt of Clinton, Mississippi. The driver is Richard Finn, headed to the gate, race 2.
Multiple things going on here. Like we said, if you're involved in harness racing, you're involved in a lot of different areas. You're just not a driver. You're just not a trainer. You're just not an owner or a broadcaster. If you're into harness racing, you're in on several different levels, right, David?
Yes. Once you get in, you start just picking up other little odds and ends, tasks and jobs and stuff you seem to be good at, and next thing you know, you're taking over more than you wanted. But we're sitting next to Tina Schrock over here, who does so much for so many fair associations, and Suburban Downs Hawthorne Racecourse up in Chicago has the Springfield and DuQuoin meet, and she's handling all the coordination and organization for that. So,
she had a short night, and I didn't ask her how that went. Going from Rushville after races were supposed to be at noon, We got rained out. We
Yep.
didn't race until about 6 o'clock, 6 or 6:30, and she still had, when we were done with those races, had to go to DeCoin to set up horse stall numbers
Had
for
to
people.
had to get the signs tagged for DeCoin the next day. I'm watching Shark again. Go figure. There he goes. All right.
All right, there he goes.
Well, I tell you what, I just got a Facebook tag from Eric Plowman up in Iowa. Eric's an old horse guy. He trained horses for a lot of years for a lot of good trainers, a lot of good horses, and I wish we had an outrider.
Yeah, that's one thing I did. Talking about what happened at Rushville, we had an accident on the last race.
Correct.
Bob Decker
Bobby, yep.
ended up in
Papa
the emergency room, and several ribs broken.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that even on a younger driver, he is like 87 years old,
Yes.
would have been, critical on a younger rider. But we didn't have an outrider over there.
We'll run down there. See if I can turn
Okay,
it.
all right. We're
Once
gonna let
again, some
David-
issues with number 1, Wizard Shark, here along the home stretch as the trainer, driver, and co-owner Doug Bowen has climbed off the race bike and walks along at the head of this 2-year-old gelded son of Revenge Shark, Wizard Shark, number 1. So folks stand by. In fact, here comes David Brink right now. David, of course, one of the co-owners, and he is going to run trackside and see if he can lend a helping hand to brother Doug. And here comes Rick Flacco as well. So we'll see if we can get the issue resolved. A lot of times there are equipment issues, especially with a 2-year-old, and it looks like whatever the issue is, Doug has waved off and he has gone on by back toward the stable area. So sit tight, folks. We'll update you on the status for number 1 in just a moment.
Back with you. We don't know what's going to happen with the number 1 horse, Wizard Shark, as of yet, as they're trying to get that horse going. Here's an update from Kurt.
And there is a late scratch here in race 2, scratch number 1, Wizard Shark. Here in this second race, scratch number 1, Wizard Shark. More in a moment. Given that David Brink is one of the co-owners of Wizard Shark, and he is here in the infield judges stand, he's also a very wise owner, because we asked, why is the horse being scratched? He said, look, Doug is the trainer, driver, and co-owner as well. He said, he makes the decision, so he said, I'm going to just defer to him. I do know sometimes with race horses, sometimes they're just reluctant to go to the starting gate, and I think maybe with Wizard Shark, that might have been one of the issues that has been experienced with that horse. Just always isn't really willing to go to the starting gate. So looks like that Wizard Shark will go back to the barns and wait and race another day. Main thing is he's healthy and he's fine. So all good on that front. Here they come now, race 2. The 2-year-old Colt Pace, first division, and there's problems for Move Over Big Guy, who's on a break at the start. Number 3, Move Over Big Guy, is off stride. The rest of the horses off and pacing down into the first turn. Vertical Speed grabs the racetrack, already slides over along the inside lane and has the advantage. Vertical Speed leads it by 3 lengths onto the backstretch off the first turn. Scrappy coming up will go second by just 1 length. Rock On Big Star is in third. Then a gap of 5 more lengths back to Move Over Big Guy, who's catching up with the field after breaking stride at the start of the race. Opening quarter mile is about to go into the books, and Vertical Speed is the leader, and the field now begins to bunch up nose to tail single file as they move by the quarter mile mark. 33 seconds flat for the opening quarter, 33 flat. After 3/8 of a mile, no change in the order. 1, 2, 3, 4, they remain the same as they have been since they moved around that east turn. That could change now, however. 2 horses along the inside lane and 2 shifting toward the outside lane. Here's Rock On Big Star, who's moving up from 3rd to 2nd to take the lead. Number 5, Rock On Big Star, makes the top clear by 1.5 lengths. Vertical Speed goes 2nd, 1.5 lengths. Scrappy coming up is 3rd now. And Move Over Big Guy is last. 104 and 1 for the first half mile, 104 and a fifth. They head onto the backstretch and race toward the 3/4 mile mark. Rock On Big Star with a big move after the 3/8 coming to the half mile mark. Not only that move good enough to take the lead, but now opening up goes Rock On Big Star by a widening 4-length margin. Let's see if Vertical Speed can respond to this challenge. Now trying to pick up the tempo and chase down the leader. They're onto the west turn with just under a 1/4 mile to go. Scrappy coming up is 3rd. 135 and 1 for the 3/4. Thank you, Dan Husingveld. 135 and 1 at the 3/4 mile mark. Move Over Big Guy trails. They turn for home, and Rock On Big Star has the lead by 4 lengths. Now it's down to 3. Vertical Speed second. How about Scrappy coming up, coming late, challenging for second, but running out of time? Here's the wire. Rock On Big Star wins it by a diminishing 1.5 lengths. Rock On Big Star, your winner for Richard Finn. Scrappy coming up, closed with a rush to be second, and then Vertical Speed was 3rd, and then a gap of another 20 lengths back. Move Over Big Guy, after breaking stride early, had a lot of work to do, but did manage to come across the line and complete the mile in that 4th position. We'll check the time for the mile in just a moment. 2:04 and 1. Very respectable time for 2-year-old pacers on a county fair half-mile track. 2:04 and 1. That's 2 minutes, 4 1/5 seconds. The pick a winner draw, $10 to Crystal. There is no last name listed. There's Crystal giving us a wave up toward the west end of the grandstand. So Crystal, your $10 will be on the way. Congratulations for picking this winner. How about a hand for the winner, number 5, Rock On Big Star. This winning 2-year-old pacer is owned and also trained by Jerry Blunt of Clinton, Mississippi, bred by Keith Miller, driven by Richard Finn. 2:04 and 1. Nice job by the Knox County Fair Board track crew. 2 winners with 2 new lifetime records in the books to get us started here tonight. And this drink cooler trophy, courtesy of the folks at Purley Farms. And folks, your winning driver there, Richard Finn, grew up in a racing family, and he is wearing the driving colors that were worn for many years by his late father, Rick, who passed away earlier this year around the 1st of May. Richard said, I'm going to wear my dad's driving colors as a tribute and a memorial to him all summer long. Great to see those colors in the winner's circle. Richard, congratulations. Yeah, the Finn family, they have got roots down in the southeastern part of the state. Richard's ancestors grew up in Cumberland County near Greenup. And I think we looked one time. There have been, if you go back and look at the Illinois record books, since the post-World War II era, there have been a total of something like 45 or 50 members of that extended Finn family which have competed as harness horse drivers across the state at Illinois county fairs. What a great tradition that is. We are official. Here's the full field rundown for race 2. From the top of the page, Wizard Shark was scratched. Vertical Speed was 3rd. Move Over Big Guy finished 4th. Scrappy coming up, the runner-up. And Rock On Big Star was the winner. The opening quarter, 33 seconds flat. The first half mile, 104 and 1. 3 quarters, 135 and a fifth. And the mile, 204 and 1/5. Another fast last quarter, 29 seconds flat for a mile in 204 and 1. It reads scratch 3-4-2-1. The winning 2-year-old pacer, a gelded son of Sagebrush out of Diorama by Real Artist, bred by Keith Miller. 2 wins on the year now for Rock On Big Star. Horseman come.
All right, David, as we get ready for race 3, we want to remind people you can still advertise with us. We've got about 10 dates left here coming up. They can do that by getting in contact with you at HarnessTube on Facebook, on YouTube, on harnesstube@gmail.com, and by calling you.
We've had some employers or some businesses who didn't have anything, didn't have commercial made, and we just got some pictures put together and, just ask some questions, and we can write a script. So if you have any interest in advertising with us, give us a shout, and we'll hook you up somehow.
Yeah, the other way is you can donate, and you can donate by going to the 2 sources are PayPal and
Venmo, PayPal, and then it's Post Office Box 63.
Yep.
Not 64, 63 amount sterling.
Just put harnesstube@gmail.com, and that'll get you, right?
Yep, harnesstube@gmail.com.
Okay. But, we've got several dates. We'll put the dates back up there. Of course, Wednesday will be at Henry, Illinois for the Marshall Putman. Post time is 5 p.m. for that race. And then evening probably for Petersburg and the Menard County Fair. And then several fairs coming on. We go into that, what I call the last dash week, where we're doing, 9 out of 10 days, something like that.
It's crazy, yeah.
And so with that, we'll have harness racing for you. As we get ready for this 3rd race today, I want to put the graphic up for that as we get ready. They've already announced that we've got a couple of driver changes that we have up on the screen. Jamaica Patton will be driving the number 2 horse, April's Big Guy, and Michelle's Girl Crush will be driven by Richard Finn.
Yep.
And so a couple of horses there. Let's see, Ashley Silver Guide, nothing this year. That's one of your horses,
That's
correct?
a Bowen horse, yeah. And look at this race. There is 4 horses, and 2 of them haven't raced. One of them has 1 mile. So April's Big Guy has the most experience coming in this race for sure. And I would expect Jamaica probably to control things.
And the Crush one there that it got second, that was that last race at Rushville, I believe.
Michelle's Girl Crush was a scratch. If you look under, yeah. So
scratch because of weather.
The race was conducted, so you will see the times for the race there: 33, 107, 141. But as far as that individual horse's result, it just scratched judges' weather. Yeah, they went home probably between the pushing it back from noon to whatever it was, 6 o'clock, 6:30, whenever we went.
Yeah, and we talked about this that day. There's some concern by some horsemen, depending on the health of the horse and the legs of the horse, of running on a track that's been bladed off like that, even though it ended up being a great track.
It was, and there was horsemen that went back down south because they had horses in at DuQuoin the next day. Just various reasons. We had people who couldn't stay that entire day, but we raced all the races, and I think we only had 1 or 2 walkovers, so it was still exciting races 6 hours later.
Okay, so we don't have much to go on here, so this is one of those where you're throwing a dart at the paper and doing a guess. I'm going to pull for you guys because it's been a rough night so far for the Bowen barn. I'm going to
This is the horse that's making his first start, though. I was kind of hoping more for the other one, but that's how racing goes. This horse, he's got some talent. He does things right. He's a little better mannered than another horse. Maybe a little more skittish of stuff, but he warmed up. It looked fine out there, so I would guess he's going to be fine today. He's going to go out there and kind of just take a back seat and see what they have turning for home. If he has any pace, try to pass him.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting race. Like you said, there's not much. Only one horse has 4 races. The rest of them have either 1 or none to their credit. And so, I'm trying to look to see, I guess this horse we saw at Carlinville And that's the only place we have seen April's big
Yeah,
guy.
so we've got 4 horses, and we've seen one line on this entire card. Yeah, as far as we go around this state doing all these, we don't catch all the races. There are some races that we don't get to, and horses, get some starts in.
And we'll talk about a couple of things here until Kurt comes back on. Number one, you're taking an animal and changing its style by making it pace and trot, correct?
Yeah, so trot would be a more natural gait. If a human took off running, you would pump your right arm up and your left knee at the same time, the opposite corners. And that's the same way with a trotter. The opposites go forward at the same time, whereas a pacer, it's both right legs and then both left legs. A little harder to maybe get them on the pace, but once they get that gait developed, they can cover more ground easier.
But you're training this horse to do those things and be under control, doing so, because it can't break stride. If it breaks stride, it's got to give up positions and get back in stride. And the people want to know, well, what happens when they break stride? Well, they have to pull back. They have to lose positions.
Lose ground, yep.
They have to lose ground. They have to get that horse re-gated before they can go back to full racing.
Yeah, and some of these horses get high-tempered. Some of them are, have rigging issues that aren't perfect, and there's various issues that you're fighting out there, sitting in that bike seat, trying to make 2 laps as fast as you can. Right? It looks easy.
Yeah, absolutely. and the other thing, along with this, is that horse racing, there's a lot more to it than a lot of people do. Do you train the horses 7 days a week, or how many days do the horses train? We talk about athletes and how often they train.
We go about 6 days a week. We clean stalls and jog the horses, and then try to train. Usually 6 days a week. We'll try to get 2 trainings, maybe a Wednesday and back Saturday for the same horses, and jog in between, depending on the race schedule, something like that. But they're an everyday job, because even on Sunday they need fed. And there's days when we're jogging on Sunday. There's days when we're cleaning stalls on Sunday, or throwing hay or whatever. There's always something to do with these horses.
Yeah, they got to be fed. They got to be watered. They got to be cared for.
And they really have to be exercised. You can't just lock them in a stall and forget about them. They're like a dog. You have to walk a dog, and it behaves a lot better. These horses need to get out, stretch their legs, and they're much easier to handle around the barn. So it's important to stay, routine with their exercise and their, the
So
training.
it's kind of like an athlete in the fact that I don't need to weight train every day, but I might jog in between of that, or I might do some aerobic exercise or something during that day in between lifting, because the horse's muscles need to readjust too.
There are various types of training techniques. Some people swim their horses. They have pools where they'll go in a building and swim around in a circle, and the horse just gets exercise that way, low contact. There's people who have treadmills. There's incline treadmill. Any just kicking them out in a paddock. We're trying to get these things exercise, and if you can limit, the action of maybe one muscle group to maybe protect another one. There's different advantages and disadvantages for training techniques.
And every horse is different, just like every human being's training is different.
And their routines are different. We jog every day, like I said, and then we would train maybe a Wednesday back Saturday, depending on a race schedule. But some people, the horses don't require that much training. Some horses want to go double headers every day. They crave the training and the going the miles. So they're all different. They're all animals, and they're 1,000-pound animals. We're trying to control them and race them in close quarters. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is. When you take a look at that whole thing, it is really amazing how
if you get a chance to ride in the starting gate and see how close those wheels actually are behind that starting gate, it's in the horse's nostrils flaring, and it's pretty intense.
Okay, with that, they're coming to the starting gate. We'll get back to Kurt.
Well, that is because the race day payout is based on things such as stakes payments and entry fees. Essentially, that's the portion of the horseman's own money that gets paid back out to them on race day. Then the bulk of the purse, it's like anything. When you talk about county fair premiums, it's got to be processed through the Illinois Department of Agriculture. They've got an entire horse racing division that has to make sure all of the T's get crossed and all the I's get dotted before the balance of that purse gets paid. Here they come right now for the third race. Ashley Silver Guy, several lengths off the gate. The rest are on their way. Often pacing here in the Alfano's Pizza race. Side-by-side battle for the early lead. My buddy Steve goes to the front as April's Big Guy had been contesting the lead, but then broke stride about midway on that east turn. And that will leave my buddy Steve on the lead by some 7 lengths, headed off the turn and up the backstretch toward the quarter-mile mark. And then Michelle's Girl Crush is in second position. Now, April's Big Guy is back on the pace, but is third, about a dozen lengths off the lead, and then a gap of 8 more lengths back of that one. Ashley's Silver Guy is last of these 4 as they move on around that west end of the racetrack. It is my buddy Steve who is the leader. 31-4. A good opening quarter here for these 2-year-old pacers, 31-4. My buddy Steve shows the way and is on top by just 2 lengths. In the meantime, Michelle's Girl Crush has been closing the gap and now draws in even closer to the leaders. Just a length and a half separate the top 2 as they move on by the half-mile mark. So the leader, my buddy Steve, 1 more length back to Michelle's Girl Crush in second, a gap of 2.5 lengths back of that one to April's Big Guy. 101-1, solid pace here in race 3, 101 and a fifth. Now, April's Big Guy has caught up to those front 2, so the top 3 are just separated by 3 lengths total, headed up the backstretch, but then there's that gap of 15 lengths more back to Ashley Silver Guy, who is the trailer, just over a quarter mile to go. My buddy Steve is the leader. Here comes the challenge. Michelle's Girl Crush takes to the outside, less than a length separate the top 2, and now they go side by side for the lead, headed around the final turn, a gap of 7 more lengths back to April's Big Guy, who has lost contact with the top 2. 135-3 at the 3/4, 135-3. They turn for home. My buddy Steve to the inside, Michelle's Girl Crush there to the outside, and they continue their battle. What a race all the way down the lane. Michelle's Girl Crush coming back again on the outside. Michelle's Girl Crush, yes! Michelle's Girl Crush gets up and wins it by almost a full length on the line. My buddy Steve had to settle for second, and then it was a gap of 10 more lengths back to Ashley Silver Guy in third, and a margin of a dozen more back of that one to April's Big Guy, who was across the line in the 4th position. The time for the mile, 2:06-1. 2:06-1/5, as Michelle's Girl Crush has just won in his first career start. Well, just a few weeks ago, they raced in the Northern Illinois Colt Association at the Henry County Fair in Cambridge. That was the kickoff event of the 2023 Illinois County Fair Tour for the Northern Illinois Colt Association. And David and Adam Brooks do a great job heading up the racing department in Henry County, and they have worked hard to maintain that racing program and keep it a part of that Henry County Fair. And the Brooks family stable gets the win here tonight. Michelle's Girl Crush goes out in a first career start and races like a pro. 2-year-old gelded son of Ashley's Big Guy out of Linda Lou from Kalamazoo by Red River, Hanover, bred by the Ham Family Trust of Willis Ham and family from Callio, Missouri, but of course this gelding very much an Illinois-bred performer. In front of the stands, how about a hand of back-to-back wins now for Richard Finn, this time Michelle's Girl Crush. Our thanks once again to everybody at Alfano's Pizza here in Knoxville on East Main. Again, visit them on Facebook or visit them at their website, alfanospizzaknox.com. They'll be back up and operating here soon after their brief summer break. Doors will be back open in August. Congratulations, Michelle's Girl Crush, the Brooks family, and Richard Finn. First career start for that 2-year-old pacer and right to the winner's circle. Sandy H., you have won the Pick a Winner draw. Sandy H., where are you, Sandy? Yeah, the Pick a Winner players are reluctant to divulge their last names. Okay, there's Sandy H., who has been located there in the stands. Congratulations, Sandy, on choosing Michelle's Girl Crush. That was a wise selection. Here's the full field rundown for that third race. It's official. Ashley's Silver Guy was third. April's Big Guy was fourth. Michelle's Girl Crush, the winner. My buddy Steve was the runner-up. They got the opening quarter in 31 and 4/5 seconds. They got the first half mile in 1:01 and a fifth. 3 quarters, 1:35 and 3/5. The time for the mile, 2:06 and 1/5. Reads down 3:4.12. That brings us to race 4, the NICA 2-year-old filly trot. For a purse of $2,649, our thanks to Tom Maloney with Edward Jones, our sponsor of the trophy cooler that will go to the winning connections here in race 4. Reminder, a couple of driver changes on the 4, True Fortune. That'll be Phil Knox. Number 4, True Fortune, the driver, Phil Knox. And on the 5, Punxsutawney, Jerome Daniels. Number 5, Punxsutawney, the driver, Jerome Daniels. Horsemen, come to the track, 4th race.
Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Just a reminder, there is a
little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
It's going to be the Pure Cool at 7 p.m. This racetrack doubles as not only a harness racing track, but also a stock car racing track. It's one of the reasons that you see the Armco barrier, which rings the outside of the racetrack and also lines the inside of portions of the racetrack as well. If you've never seen modified stock car racing, folks, those cars are lightweight and they have got powerful engines and they can flat out scoot. So be sure to be here tomorrow night. It's going to be a great program. Pure Cool Hart Limited Modifieds at 7. Wednesday, it is the Jim Smith Memorial Tractor and Truck Pulls with mini rods. That will get underway at 6:30. Thursday night, Scotty McCreary and Sawyer Brown, also featuring Josiah Siska, 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. Friday, the Figure 8 races get underway at 6:30. On Saturday, Robbo's Extreme Demolition Derby at 5:30 p.m. A reminder, the carnival opens tomorrow evening. Bowden Amusements already on the grounds and setting up for that opening tomorrow night. And for more information, you can either visit the fair's Facebook page or visit them online at www.knoxfair.com.
David, race 4 coming up as we're almost halfway through this. One of my favorite horses running in this race.
Hocus Pocus and Focus. I gotta love it. That name is great. There was another name later today I was going to try to mention. It was one of Steve Searle's horse. What was it? Oh, Honolulu somewhere. Maybe that's in Henry. A horse named Honolulu. I love that name. It's a great name.
Hocus Pocus and Focus has got 5 victories and 1 second place in 6 races. We've seen this horse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 6 times that it's run.
I tell you that this horse is going to be one of the I would say one of the favorites going in the state fair. It would have to be. I mean, putting together good times, good quarters, good last quarters, winning consistently. Jamaica's doing it kind of on the front end. You know, this horse is impressive and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Did I read that right? I guess not. The finishes are actually what, right after the times?
These are the finishes. The bolded are the finish.
The bolded are
Yep.
the finish. Okay, so I was reading the right line.
Yeah.
But we've got basically anywhere from 208 to 213. But that depends on
tracks are
how
different, yes.
the track is being different and how much you're pushed.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I say all this stuff, but, you know, I haven't confirmed with Jamaica. This horse may not be staked beyond the county fairs. I don't know. You know, I haven't had that conversation. You have to pay the fees to be eligible to race at, you know, the state fair and DuQuoin State Fair. So this horse has got to be one of the better ones, I would assume, going into it.
David doing some consulting. But the other horse that I'd look at here that we've seen, Punxsutatina, Jerome Daniels is going to drive that horse. We have seen that horse several different times. We saw it at Carrollton, Cambridge, and we have seen it in Martinsville. The Jerome Daniels driven, trained by Rashawn Trigg in this. And so we have seen the
Punxsutatina, yeah.
Punxsutatina. We've
an
seen that
interesting
horse,
name.
but that horse has struggled a little bit. A couple of thirds, fourth, fifth, and a sixth.
You know, started out all right, then made a couple breaks at I guess Springfield and had some broken equipment at Cambridge. Just some bad luck. Hopefully they can kind of put things together in the Trigg barn and got a new driver. You know, Jerome Daniels is driving. I don't think JD is here. He must be off all of his drives.
Danish Lullaby we have seen before. Steve Renard.
Doc Renard,
Trigg.
yeah, he's from up in Hamilton, Illinois. He's one of the guys who has more fun than anybody else, and he's, 76 years old. Just loves it. Retired veterinarian, has a couple horses, travels around, always has a grin.
As we're getting ready for them to do the parade.
Horses are on the track for race number 4. This is the Northern Illinois Colt Association 2-year-old filly trot. Total purse of $2,649, a race day payout of just under $1,000. The sponsor of the trophy cooler for this race is Tom Maloney of Edward Jones Investments in nearby Galesburg. And we appreciate Tom's continued support of racing. He and the whole gang at Edward Jones, as they have been faithful sponsors each year here at the Knox County Fair. We'll meet the field in just a moment. A reminder that the driver of number 4 is Phil Knox. Phil Knox drives True Fortune number 4, and Jerome Daniels will drive Punxsutatina. Jerome Daniels driving Punxsutatina number 5. There are no scratches here in the 4th race, so looking for a field of 5 as programmed, and they have now assembled on the racetrack and are getting ready to head to the starting gate.
We're back on Harness Tube.
Getting ready to go to the post for race 4. Number 1 is Hocus Pocus and Focus, owned by Ron Phillips of Athens. Jamaica Patton of Rochester, trained and driven by Jamaica Patton. 2 is Lose Amazon, owned by the Flacco family farms of Alexis, trained by Steve Searle, the driver Wyatt Abinetti. 3, Danish Lullaby, owned, trained, and driven by Dr. Stephen Renard from up in Hamilton. Number 4 is True Fortune. True Fortune races for owner Milton Greer of Jackson, Tennessee, trainer Leroy Hunt, and the driver this evening is Phil Knox. And completing the field, number 5, Punxsutatina, owned by the Flacco family farms, trained by Rashawn Trigg. Jerome Daniels is in the race bike. Headed to the starting gate here for the 4th race, Dr. Renard, who has number 3, Danish Lullaby. He's no stranger to success at this fair. He's won his share of races here over the years, and in fact, a couple of years ago, actually won the Tom Maloney Edward Jones Investments Trophy with a trotting filly by the name of Lou's Voodoo Woman. And here this evening, the trotting filly Danish Lullaby. We'll see if she can carry Dr. Renard to another win here at the Knox County Fair. Number 1, Hocus Pocus and Focus, comes in with 5 wins and 6 starts, so she would have to be considered the favorite in this group here this evening. However, She starts from post position number 1, and the last time she did was at Decatur back on June 10th, and she broke stride shortly after the start, and that was her only loss. She ended up runner-up that afternoon. Sometimes horsemen will tell you that, especially with a 2-year-old trotter, when you draw the number 1 starting spot, that's not always an advantage. You think it is in terms of, well, you're starting down toward the inside, you're going to save ground around that first turn. But sometimes drivers have told us where that can backfire, especially with a young horse, is you come out of the starting gate and you float out of there with all kinds of speed. But when you're stuck on that inside lane, sometimes you run out of racetrack. You don't have enough racing room on that inside starting lane to have a spot to put all of that speed when the race begins. So we'll see how it works out here for number 1, Hocus Pocus and Focus. We know she's good, but we also know the number 1 starting spot was not so lucky for her back at Decatur. Here they come, lined up on the gate, race 4. They are off and trotting. There goes True Fortune out for the lead, and Hocus Pocus and Focus is away second down toward the inside. And you notice Jamaica Patton just very carefully letting Hocus Pocus and Focus decide how fast she wants to trot and when she wanted to take the lead. He just gently guided her up that inside lane. She did save the ground. She stayed on the trot, and as a result, Hocus Pocus and Focus, so far so good for the favorite here, and she leads it by 2.5 lengths, headed up the backstretch toward the quarter-mile mark. True Fortune is second by a gap of 3.5 lengths. Danish Lullaby is racing in third by a length and a half, and then Lose Amazon is in the 4th position, and Punk Sutina is at the back. 35 flat for the opening quarter. 35 seconds flat was the time for the opening quarter mile. Hocus Pocus and Focus is the leader. Leads it by 2 lengths. True Fortune travels along in the 2nd position and continues to draft in behind the leader. Further back, difficulty for Lose Amazon, who just broke stride, trailing the field. Back up front, though, Hocus Pocus and Focus continues to show the way. Only by a length and a half, though. True Fortune is second by 2. And here comes Punk Sutina moving up into third, 4 lengths off the lead. 1:06 for the first half mile, 1 minute, 6 seconds flat. And then Danish Lullaby, Dr. Renard's horse, has been shuffled back a position and is now 4th along the inside lane, 5 lengths off the leader, and a gap of over 20 more lengths to Lose Amazon last after breaking stride. Midpoint of the backstretch, Hocus Pocus and Focus continues to lead. Leads it by 2 lengths, now by 2.5 once again. It is True Fortune in second by a length and a half. Punk Sutina is in third. Less than a quarter mile to go. A gap of a dozen more lengths to Danish Lullaby and 10 more back of that one to Lose Amazon, who trails around the final turn. 1:41, the time at the 3/4. 1:41, Hocus Pocus and Focus opening up now at the top of the stretch is out to a 5-length lead. Back to True Fortune in second by a length. Punk Sutina is in third. Hocus Pocus and Focus, the favorite, is going to win again. 6 wins in 7 career starts. Hocus Pocus and Focus opened up and won it by 4 lengths on the line. It was True Fortune home second by a length and a half. Punk Sutina was third, and then a gap of just over 20 more lengths back to Danish Lullaby in 4th, and Lose Amazon was 5th. The time for the mile, 2:09 and 2. 2 minutes, 9 and 2/5 seconds. Your favorite, number 1, Hocus Pocus and Focus, the winner of the Tom Maloney Edward Jones race. We'll meet the winner next. Horsemen, you may come to the track with race 5.
Well, David, not a surprise there. Hocus Pocus and
Nope.
Focus.
Well, Jamaica just, controlled it, like Kurt was saying, floated her into that first turn, and from there, it was just take care of her, take care of her, take care of her.
And True Fortune with Phil Knox did not do a bad job in that race.
Phil,
it was closer than a lot of people would have thought.
Phil is picking up some drives tonight, and he's putting some
$10
good drives.
on the pick-a-winner draw. Bill Hunter Bill Hunter, you have won $10 on the Pick a Winner draw. Give our ushers a wave, and they'll bring you that $10 for choosing this filly right here. There's Bill Hunter, orange shirt, just to our left, your right of the start-finish line, just east of the start-finish line. Well, we talked about the fact as our queen and her court, Clara Culper and Dakota Detmers and Ellie Dare get ready to present the trophy cooler to our winning connections here in race number 4, courtesy of Tom Maloney and the staff at Edward Jones in Galesburg. We talked about the fact that drawing the number 1 starting spot, it's great to save ground, but you got to be careful because you don't have any room to maneuver to your right or your left when you go out of that starting gate. That's why Jamaica Patton was very careful, and you noticed Jamaica was very patient when they left the gate. He never touched this filly with the whip. He just let her find her own comfortable rate of speed as she took the lead off the first turn and never looked back. A very heady, smart driver, Mr. Jamaica Patton. How about a hand for the winner? Hocus Pocus and Focus.
David, I'll pull this back in for a minute here. To me, as not I'm the average fan, okay?
Yeah, right.
Hocus Pocus and Focus is that horse you dream of that you just let do its thing.
Yeah, she's. I mean, I remember the mare Refocus a little bit. She was kind of a hothead, and this mare, I think Jamaica's just being very careful. Just take care of her, and she'll trot fast enough, and she'll put her head out there. I mean, she's trying to win these things too.
Yeah, and as we heard Kurt say, no whip, nothing, just kind of guide her.
Yeah,
and
in that first turn with a horse on your outside, it can get awfully tight. And even if a horse has room, they might get nervous. And if they get nervous, they take a bad step, they hit themselves. So Jamaica he's an expert veteran out there, just taking care of his investment.
And let's talk about that. Jamaica owns one of the biggest barns in Illinois.
Yeah,
right.
Jamaica's got 40 head probably in his barn. He's got a couple
40
barns.
horses, folks.
Yeah, and he came up here as a kid right out of high school, probably 25 years ago. I remember him wearing, Uncle Freddie's colors or whoever. Maybe his Grandpa Freddie Sr.'s colors. I remember him wearing the colors before he had his own, and he was a kid, right off the football field, and now he lives up here in Illinois. He's got a stable of 40 horses. He's got tons of owners, loyal owners and breeders that work with him, and talk about a success story.
A successful driver, trainer,
competing
owner.
at the highest level now.
I mean, you look at it. Where in sports do you see someone who can be driver, trainer, and owner of anything?
Right. That's what makes it different in horse racing is what other sport can you compete or can you get in at that level? Mm-hmm. It's all you. They're used. If you want to be hands-on, this is for you because you can do it all.
Well, and let's talk about this a little bit. Having a successful barn is numbers. Okay?
It's a lot of numbers.
We were talking today. You have 5 horses in your barn right now, right?
Shrinking.
It's shrinking. He's got like 40 horses in his barn. The opportunity to get that horse, to get the hocus pocus and focus kind of horse,
but
is 8 times greater.
It is.
Just because of numbers, and it's like anything else. The more numbers you have, the more success you're going to have.
And the key is finding somebody to buy those horses and pay those bills for you. And Jamaica's been fortunate. He's got a nice, I guess you call them stable of owners, that have been doing business with him for a long time, and he treats them pretty well, and they treat him pretty well. And but you're right, because if you start looking at the numbers game of it all, it does take a lot of horses to get that one good one that you want.
But a lot of times it only takes one horse to make a successful barn.
You wouldn't believe it, but one really good horse can change your life and set you up for life, in this game for a long time. I'm not sure if Free Focus is that caliber horse, but as far as champion, state fair champion, something like that, that's definitely possible. And they're having fun. John Carver, I think, bred that horse, and I think Jamaica and Ron Phillips own it together. They've been doing this for a long time and just having fun and at a high level. So, congratulations to them.
And you were talking up here. There is a breeding farm right up here, correct?
Yeah, Flacco Family Farms is right up the road here, and that's one of the biggest breeding operations in this state. I was telling you earlier about, I remember when Doc Flacco, a retired medical doctor, might have started the breeding operation. Remember, he had a horse named Giant Triumph, probably 25 years ago, 20 years ago or so. And then over the years, culled some different horses and moved some through his herd, and landed with this horse named Lou's Legacy, a Windsong Legacy horse that he found and worked with. And next thing you know, he's the top trotting stallion in the state for like 10 years. So. Congrats to the Flacco family. They're always out at the fairs. They have a lot of horses that they still own. Super supporters of so many fairs, not just up in this area, but the whole state altogether.
Okay, we'd like for them to like and subscribe. Can you tell them about liking and subscribing and why we want them to do that?
Yeah, please, go to our page, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and just every button that says like, subscribe, follow, anything, just click it. All those things have different characteristics and what they will do for you, but the key one to me is that YouTube. You go to YouTube and you can sign in somehow. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can usually use a Google-related account, MSN, Gmail, something like that. But you just sign in and hit the subscribe button. And like I said, if we're racing somewhere and you kind of forgot about us, you'll get a notification or an email to your phone. Ding, Harness Tube's live from whatever fair, and you can not miss any of the action. So hit those buttons for us.
And then the other thing that we want people to do is go out there and send us a message.
Yes, and I was just going through them over here. I got Dave Avenetti watching over there in Eastern Illinois. He's Wyatt's dad, and Wyatt's one of the top drivers on the fair circuit, and I think he was the driving champion last year on the county fairs, if I'm not mistaken. So.
And we haven't heard from the Prathers tonight. Usually,
the Prathers are they here?
I don't know.
Oh, Sandy and Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're watching or not. I drove by Girlman Chiropractic on the way up here, and I'm pretty sure Sandy.
And then someone's relatives live in Hannibal that sent us a message the last time that we're watching from Hannibal, and I can't remember who that was. But I mean, folks, we just want to hear that you're out there, where you're listening or watching from. Just send us even a short message on harnesstube@gmail.com.
Eric Plowman sent me a picture on Facebook. He posted and tagged us in of watching in his living room. We appreciate just being in your house with you, being with you for this journey, watching these races at the fairs. Enjoying the sport and the animals.
And we're getting ready for race 5 to go on here. As we get ready for the racing, and we'll talk about that for a moment just between you and I before Kurt gets back in here. But, I mean, we've seen several of these horses this year.
Right.
And several races.
The Renard horses, the Brown horses we've seen, TVS.
Rashawn's horses.
Yep, Cosmac we've seen. This I'm Affordable is kind of interesting at a Steve Serrell barn. Only got one start. Those are always interesting to me. What's that next step look like? Is it going to be an improvement? Is it going to be a setback? Is it just par for the course? So I'm going to follow that one a little bit, I think.
Well, and we had to change the drivers here, but my horse in this is Los Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah, the Flacco named that after the popular show, a Star Wars show. But hey, JP driving, that's not a bad thing to have at the county fairs. He's one of the best and has been for a long time.
Nope, and we've got a lot of popular people. Doc Renard's in this thing.
Yep.
Chris Brown
both
is
Chris
driving.
and Jill, husband and wife combination, driving against each other.
And Wyatt Avenetti.
And Wyatt's in here. I wasn't sure if Wyatt was coming today. Someone said he might not, but he's up here. He's driving. He's having some luck. So.
All right, with that, we'll turn it back over to Kurt. I'm sure he's going to come up here in a minute.
Get him all fired up.
Oh, trust me, you can get him
like
going.
Only I can do.
Absolutely. Horses are on the track for race number 5 as we reach the midway portion of this 10-race card. This is the NICA, Northern Illinois Colt Association 2-year-old colt trot, brought to you by our friends at Flacco Family Farms, LLC, and Alexis standing at stud, Danish Durango, and the reigning Illinois Trotting Stallion of the Year, Lou's Legacy, who has won that title on multiple occasions. A reminder, Flacco Family Farms, they will have one of the leading consignments on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th, at the annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale in Springfield at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. They will have several homebreds that they will be offering for sale and several yearlings they are representing for other clients. So those catalogs will be out by the end of July. Catalog goes to press this week. Let's meet the starters for race 5. Number 1, Tropical Durango, owned by the Flacco Family Farms, trained by Jill Brown, driven by her husband Chris. Number 2, Dashing Durango, owned, trained, and driven by Dr. Stephen Renard of Hamilton. Number 3, Luz Mandalorian, owned by the Flacco Family Farms, trained by Roshan Trigg. Contrary to the program, the driver is Jamaica Patton. Number 4, Devant Durango, owned by the Flacco Family Farms, co-owned by the trainer-driver Jill Brown of Charleston. Number 5, I'm Affordable, owned by John Krasnikan Jr. of Streeter, co-owned by Mary Krasnikan of Streeter, the trainer Steve Searle, the driver, that's Wyatt Avenatti. And number 6, TVS Cosmac, owned, trained, and driven by Jerome Daniels of Springfield, Illinois, and co-owned by David W. Williams of Byram, Mississippi, headed to the starting gate for race 5.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
The forecast does not look real favorable, but already racing officials are working on contingency plans, so horsemen, just a heads up, we realize the forecast is also touch and go this week at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, where racing is scheduled Thursday and Friday. But again, racing officials and officials at the Marshall Putnam Fair and at the Illinois State Fairgrounds already are getting together and texting and calling and getting ready with contingency plans if they are necessary. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to wait and cross that bridge when we come to it, and we hope it'll be a wonderful weather week right here in Knox County. The fair continues all week. Here they come, race 5, lined up and on the gate. And they are off and trotting. There goes Tropical Durango out for the early lead. Luz Mandalorian has early speed as well. And then Devant Durango, far outside toward the center of the track, gets away third and moves up a couple of positions around the first turn, but cannot find room to save any ground down toward the inside. That's because Danish Durango, or Dashing Durango, is moving up toward the inside to take over third. And now there goes Devant Durango on a break. So Devant Durango off stride, drops out to the back of the pack. TVS Cosmac's going to move up the inside lane into the 4th position. I'm Affordable moves up into 5th, and now Devant Durango back on the trot, but the distant trailer in 6th position. Tropical Durango is the leader past the quarter-mile mark after an opening quarter goes on the board. 35 flat for the opening quarter, 35 seconds flat. Dan Husinkveld and Tabby Flacco comparing watches, and 35 flat, the call for that opening quarter mile. Now, Dr. Renard takes to the outside with Dashing Durango, moving from 3rd up to challenge for 2nd, but Tropical Durango is still the leader, and here comes Luz Mandalorian to the outside from between horses. Luz Mandalorian in 2nd now within a half length of the lead. Tropical Durango still leads it. TVS Cosmac sneaks up along the inside lane to close 3rd. 105 and 3 for the first half mile. 105 and 3. Dashing Durango is in 4th and has lost some ground to those front 3 and is now 8 lengths off the leader, and then a gap of a dozen more lengths back to I'm Affordable, who's next to last, and Devant Durango takes to the outside to challenge for that 5th spot. Luz Mandalorian, the new leader, but here comes TVS Cosmac moving up into 2nd position. A length separates the top 2. Tropical Durango shuffled to 3rd. Dashing Durango is 4th, still 8 lengths from the front as they move by the 3/4 and onto the final turn. TVS Cosmac is up to challenge now for the lead. 1:40, the time of the 3/4, 1 minute 40 seconds flat. Lose Mandalorian leads at a half length to the inside, top of the stretch, and TVS Cosmac is right there alongside in second. These two side by side off the turn down the stretch. Another tremendous finish at the Knox County Fair, and TVS Cosmac has taken the lead by a length in deep stretch. TVS Cosmac and Jerome Daniels to win it by a length on the line. Lose Mandalorian was second, and then it was a gap of 16 more lengths back to Dashing Durango in third. A similar margin back of that one to Tropical Durango in fourth, and then Devant Durango was fifth, and I'm Affordable was sixth. 2:09 and 4 was the time for the 1 mile distance. 2:09 and 4, that is 2 minutes 9 and 4/5 seconds. We'll meet the winner here in just a moment, and then we will play Pick a Winner. Horsemen, you may come to the track with race 6. Race 6, horsemen, come to the track, please. Your winner, number 6, TVS Cosmac.
Another good race, David.
A great race, great finish.
And there I go, finishing second again. I'm good at finishing the second place horse tonight.
I was watching I'm Affordable and how that turned out for me. So,
well, yeah, that didn't work out at all.
But TVS Cosmac, though, when you get those starts under your belt.
Our own Tabby Flacco coming trackside with a cooler in hand, a drink cooler that will be presented to the winning connections here in just a moment for the Flacco Family Farms LLC race. Again, our thanks to the entire Flacco family for all they do for racing in Illinois and right here at the Knox County Fair, overseeing the racing department. And we do appreciate that. I know the racing fans do as well. And again, check out the Flacco Family Farms consignment on Labor Day, Monday, September 4, at the Illini Classic Yearling Sale at the Livestock Pavilion at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Here's the winner of the Flacco Family Farms race. How about a hand for number 6, TVS Cosmac? Congratulations, owner, trainer, driver Jerome Daniels out of Springfield, Illinois, and co-owner David Williams of Byron, Mississippi. This winning 2-year-old colt is by Strong Hope out of Tia Maria Cosmos by S.J.'s Photo, bred by Marlon Gingrich, and picks up a second career victory with a win here in 2:09 and 4. Now, folks, a lot of horsemen who have roots in the Deep South have come to race with us over the last 25 years, and sometimes they even decide, you know what, I like Illinois so much, I'm going to move to Illinois and make my home there. That gentleman in the race bike is one such example. He now makes his home in Springfield, Illinois. Good to have you as an Illinoisan, Jerome Daniels. Congratulations. Full field rundown is official. Before we get to that, Tony Arnold, give us a wave. Tony Arnold, you have won the $10 there, right on the finish line, just a few rows up. Congratulations. Here comes that $10 handed over right now. Good selection, picking TVS Cosmac. Here's that full field rundown. It is official for race 5. Tropical Durango finished 4. Dashing Durango finished 3. Lose Mandalorian, the runner-up. Devant Durango finished 5. I'm Affordable was 6. And TVS Cosmac, the winner. The opening quarter, 35 seconds. The first half mile was 1:05 and 3. 3/4 of a mile in 1 minute 40 seconds flat. And the time for the 1 mile distance, 2:09 and 4/5. Another fast last quarter, 29 and 4. Reads down 4:32, 5:61. A lot of driver changes in the upcoming 6th race as we move now to the 3-year-old pace. And the price of poker goes up here. The purse, $4,890. The race day payout, $1,585. Not enough entries to split into a colt and filly separate division, so they all go into race 6 if they're a 3-year-old pacer, and that's why the purse is so much larger here, $4,890. A reminder, the driver of the 1, Ashley's Lil Angel, is Jerome Daniels. Number 1, Ashley's Lil Angel, Jerome Daniels, the driver. On the 2, Bappa's Last Call, that'll be Richard Finn. Number 2, Bappa's Last Call, the driver, Richard Finn. The 4, Major Rosita, Phil Knox. Number 4, Major Rosita, the driver, Phil Knox. And the 6, Stars With You, Jamaica Patton. Stars With You. Number 6, the driver, Jamaica Patton. Horsemen come to the track.
Well, David, a lot of changes for drivers in this particular race.
Driver changes, yeah.
In fact, on our original, Wyatt Evanetti wasn't driving. That was done before the program got done. So, I mean, for me, 5 driver changes. That's a lot of changing around.
I'm working you hard.
Hey, it keeps you involved in what's going on here.
You're right.
Let's talk about these horses here. This is a big stake. They said, explain what he was talking about dividing the fillies and the...
Yeah, just like Kurt was saying, usually what happens is the boys race against the boys, the girls race against the girls. It's traditionally been that way, and there wasn't enough horses entered into the class to split fillies and colts separate, so they put all the boys and girls together, and hence you combine the purses, and therefore you have a little bit larger purse for this race. So I think we saw this happen at Cambridge too. It happens every once in a while. You get a big pot to go for, and everyone kind of keeps their eye on it a little tighter, you know.
Yeah, Ashley's Little Angel, we have seen that horse, it looks like 3 times.
Yeah, fresh off a win at Rushville.
And then Bob Papa's Last Call, we've seen several times. 1, 2,
Cambridge,
3,
I announced
4,
it. I know
5.
for a fact, yeah.
5 times. Philly's Revenge, we've seen that horse.
Very tough this year, yeah, the county fairs.
3 races we've seen that horse, and then Major Rosita has been in a lot of races we've done. I know that. Decatur, Martinsville.
The only one I don't remember is Stars With You. We've seen it a couple times, but the other ones I've seen for a couple years. I know them really well.
Yes, Decatur, that horse ran. Carrollton.
And Carrollton, yeah.
And
so long ago.
I guess
Carrollton
what, the Mount
race.
Sterling last year?
Yeah, it looks like Mount Sterling last year. Look, that is correct.
So,
well, while we have a little time, I'm going to go ahead and give a couple more shout-outs that came in during the last race. The first one, Lisa Tipsword's watching. Lisa Tipsword was cheering for Richard Finn. If you remember correctly, Kurt was announcing how Richard's wearing the... I
want to take a quick moment and issue a personal apology to the folks at the Henry County Fair in Cambridge. Had been scheduled to call races there a few weeks ago and was headed up Interstate 57 from the south central part of Illinois and got caught behind an accident situation where a tractor trailer had caught on fire and it shut down the interstate for several hours. And as a result, David Brink was kind enough to step in on short notice. He was already at the fairgrounds at Cambridge, being there with Steve Surratt and Lisa Surratt and the entire gang with harness tube. So David did a fantastic job, stepped up to the microphone. I think he said it was the first time he had called a race in 18 years. You would have never known it. Sounded like he'd been doing it every day. So David Brink, congratulations. Well done at the microphone at the Henry County Fair. Thank you for stepping in to cover those announcing duties.
Boy, that's a big pat on the back right there,
It was.
buddy.
From Kurt back here, that's pretty big. I appreciate that,
He's been a big supporter of ours with harness tube and getting the word out there.
I think he believes in it, But anyway, back to Lisa Tipsword. Yeah, she was cheering for Richard Finn. I mentioned his wearing his dad's colors who passed away. I think Kurt said it a couple months ago. I also wanted to mention, if you notice Jill Brown driving, Jill Brown is wearing the colors. I don't remember her racing much as a child, or when I was younger, but now that she's got back into it, she wears the colors of her late father, Jack James, from down around Charleston area. So it's kind of cool to see the actual colors on the different people generationally over the years.
Well, the cool part for, the average horse person is you don't understand where those colors come from. So you pick your colors when you're a licensed driver. You have to pick your colors.
You don't have to. You can, but when it comes down to if you want to register professionally, you have to have your own set, to you. But yeah, you just pick them yourself and kind of go with family traditions or local schools or whatever have you.
Yeah, and I think we've talked at yours. Alan Bowen's colors were what color?
Green, orange, and gold.
Race 6, the NICA, Northern Illinois Colt Association 3-year-old pace. Again, the fillies, the colts, and geldings all meet here in one division for a purse of just under $4,900. No scratches, a field of 6 as programmed. Several driver changes. Again, Jerome Daniels on the 1, Ashley's Little Angel. Richard Finn drives the 2, Bapa's Last Call. Phil Knox, the driver for the 4, Major Rosita. And on number 6, Stars With You, the driver is Jamaica Patton. Good field assembled here. Number 1, Ashley's Little Angel, actually won here at the Knox County Fair 1 year ago. You've got Philly's Revenge, who's won 5 of her 9 races this year, won by 10 lengths down at the fair at Martinsville, Illinois, in the Great Midwest Pace Filly Division. So she has been one of the leading 3-year-old pacing fillies on the Illinois Fair Circuit and across the state this year. Philly's Revenge. Major Rosita, 3 wins this year. Midnight Chrome, 3 wins this year. So a solid field. Let's meet the starters right now. Number 1 is Ashley's Little Angel. Thank you to Dr. John Edwards, by the way, the race sponsor. Ashley's Little Angel is owned and trained by Roshan Trigg of Brandon, Mississippi, co-owned by the Flacco Family Farms of Alexis, the driver Jerome Daniels. Number 2, Bapa's Last Call, owned by Lester Detweiler from Sullivan, Kevin Miller of Arthur, trained by Kevin Miller, Richard Finn in the bike. 3, Philly's Revenge, owned by Nan Turner of Argenta, trained by John Fletcher. The driver is Mike Rogers. 4, Major Rosita, owned by Carla Santos of Springfield, trained by Dossie Minor, Phil Knox in the bike. 5 is Midnight Chrome, owned by Kevin and Alan Miller of Arthur, trained by Kevin Miller. The driver is Wyatt Avenetti. And number 6, Stars With You, owned and trained by Wayne Brown of Mason, Tennessee. The driver is Jamaica Patton. Headed to the starting gate so far with 5 of our 10 races in the books. Richard Finn leading all drivers thus far at this juncture here on the card with 2 wins. No trainer with more than 1 victory thus far. Been a very competitive program, getting ready for race 6.
So, David, do you have any...
I think we have a moment here. I just checked over my shoulder to see Kurt, what he was up to. But I just want to take this moment. You mentioned Bobby Decker's accident at Rushville. But I want to take a moment and just kind of walk through what happened. You know, got in an accident, got taken to a hospital. But his family has been posting on Facebook. Marge, his wife, you know, Jody, his daughter, Wayne's been taking care of the barn back home. They are handling it so well, and the prognosis, he left ICU. Breathing tubes were being removed, so he's healing. It's amazing, you know. Here at Harness Tube, everyone in the horse racing community knows Bobby, knows Papa Deck, and appreciates. I guarantee almost everybody's been touched by Bobby at some point. Stepped up and helped you out sometime when you needed it, or took care of you when you needed it. So he's kind of like special to us all, and we want to wish him the best and get healthy soon and heal up. And as stubborn and obstinate as he is,
they are at the post, and the gate is rolling for race number 6. We talked about this last year. The layout of the racetrack here at the Knox County Fair is east to west, or west to east if you prefer. West end of the racetrack is where the starting gate is right now, over on that far turn or upper turn. If you're a race announcer, better bring your binoculars. Even though the sun is shining, as that sun dips a little bit lower in the sky, those drivers' silks, those drivers' colors, I don't care if it's green and white, blue and yellow, red and black, doesn't matter what it is, all those driver silks get washed out in that sun. You better have yourself a pair of binoculars and hope for the best. Here they come, race number 6. They are off and pacing. Bapa's Last Call made a break at the start, but quickly got back on stride. Was off stride for a step or two and now is back on gate. It's a 3-wide shuffle for the lead. Philly's Revenge moves up and has the lead. Drops over along the inside lane of the racetrack. Major Rosita will go second. Midnight Chrome is in between horses in 3rd position. There goes Ashley's Little Angel, 3 wide from the center of the pack. 4th to 3rd to 2nd, a length off the lead. Ashley's Little Angel moves up just off the leader's flank. Philly's Revenge is still the leader and leads it now. Opens back up by 2 lengths. There's Major Rosita moving up in 2nd position, second by just 3/4 of a length. Ashley's Little Angel is now caught 3rd on the outside. 32 seconds for the opening quarter. 32 seconds flat was the time for the first quarter mile. Philly's Revenge is the leader. After 3/8 of a mile, they move to the top of the stretch and come on down toward the half. Here's Ashley's Little Angel again challenging Major Rosita for that 2nd position. And then Midnight Chrome. Now Midnight Chrome was parked around the first turn, got a breather on the upper turn, and now shifts lanes again from left to right, moves up with cover from 4th on the outside, 3 lengths off the lead. There's a gap of 2 more to Bapa's Last Call in 5th, and Stars With You is last. A minute and 2/5. A minute and 2/5 of a second. A fast opening half mile. Philly's Revenge sets the tempo, and she leads it by a length heading onto the backstretch. Ashley's Little Angel is second, a half length. Major Rosita sneaks up a closer third and now challenges for that second spot. Midnight Chrome, 3 wide and gearing up. He's hitting another gear. Midnight Chrome from fourth to second to challenge Philly's Revenge. What a breathtaking move by Midnight Chrome to put himself in contention for the win. Philly's Revenge is still there toward the inside. They go at it all the way around the far turn and to the top of the stretch. Midnight Chrome outside, Philly's Revenge inside, Major Rosita third, shifting lanes toward the center of the track. Midnight Chrome pokes ahead in front. Philly's Revenge tries to fight back. Major Rosita third. Midnight Chrome is going to win it. Midnight Chrome, with that huge move on the backstretch, wins it by a length and a half on the line. Major Rosita got up for second. Philly's Revenge was a hard-fought third, and then a gap of about 15 lengths back to Ashley's Little Angel in fourth. Bappa's Last Call was fifth, and Stars With You was sixth. We'll check the three-quarter. The three-quarter mile mark was 1:32 and 2, by the way. Three quarters, 1:32 and 2/5. The time for the mile, 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second. 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second. Fastest mile so far on the card. $10 for playing Pick a Winner and selecting the winner and having his name drawn. Jim Llewellyn. Where are you, Jim? Jim Llewellyn, you have won the Lair right toward center field section of the grandstand, about midway up, just east of the start-finish line. Jim Llewellyn, your winner. That $10 is on its way. Folks, that was as breathtaking a move as one will ever see, especially on a county fair half-mile track. You've got to have some courage to sit in that race bike and to send a horse 3 wide at full speed, barreling off the end of the backstretch onto the final turn. But Wyatt Avenatti had total confidence in this horse that he could handle it and make that kind of move and just keep right on going. How about a hand for number 5, Midnight Chrome? Dr. John Edwards, the sponsor of the trophy cooler, which has just been presented by Rick Flacco to our winning connections. Congratulations to Kevin and Alan Miller of Arthur, the owners. Kevin Miller is the trainer. This winning pacer driven by Wyatt Avenatti, who comes to us out of Chrisman, Illinois, over in Edgar County, way over in the eastern part of the state. This winning 3-year-old gelding is by Some Star Somewhere, the reigning Illinois pacing sire of the year, out of Tosca, Hanover, by Cam's Card Shark. 4 wins this year, 10 wins on his career. Midnight Chrome, who a year ago won the County Fair Championship Challenge at the end of the summer on the big 1-mile track down at DuQuoin. Very accomplished racehorse, 10th career victory, bred by the Fox Valley Standardbreds of Dr. Kenneth and Patricia Walker of Sherman. 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second, fastest mile so far on the evening. We'll take a look at the full field rundown in just a moment. Horsemen, you may come to the track, please, with race 7. A reminder, in the upcoming 7th race, driver of the 1, Luz Rona, is Chris Brown. Chris Brown drives the 1, Luz Rona, and the driver of number 3, Luz Lexi Lou, Jamaica Patton. Jamaica Patton drives 3, Luz Lexi Lou. Full field rundown is coming up. Photo finish, contact the charter, please. Thank you.
Steve, while you're working on that, I think I'm watching Kurt and I have a moment here. I got a really cool email just came in. David Williams was watching from Byron, Mississippi. He said, just watched the 5th race. I'm David W. Williams, father of Jamaica Patton. 2 grandsons of his are in the family business, JJ and Lavarius Carter. Shout out from Byron. Thanks for watching, David. I've never met you. Didn't know where Jamaica's father was, but great to hear from you, man. I love hearing that we got more.
Here is that full field rundown. It is now official for race 6. From the
Thanks
top
for
of the
watching.
page, Ashley's Lil Angel finished 4th. Bapa's Last Call finished 5. Philly's Revenge 3. Major Rosita was the runner-up. Midnight Chrome the winner. Stars With You was 6. The opening quarter in 32 flat. The first half mile in 1 minute 2/5. 3 quarters 1:32 and 2/5. And the time for the mile 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second. Reached down 4:53 2:16. 7th race on the way. The 3-year-old Filly Trot. No scratches, looking for a field of 5 as scheduled.
David, we want to thank the people that have been the
Yes.
forerunners in doing this. Tina Schrock being one of those people, and her
Yep.
daughter, and
Emma. I want to also I'm giving shout outs left and right tonight. We didn't get over obviously to Fairfield. That was on Sunday yesterday, and top of the list over here, Candy Herzog in the left column. She did the filming on Facebook and did a great job. Candy's been doing this since 2020, I think. And she does a fantastic job. She keeps a program. She puts a picture, and I mean, she makes it as good as you can get on Facebook. She does an awesome job, and so thank you to Candy for covering the fairs that we couldn't quite get to this year.
well, and let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
We're not doing every county fair,
No, right.
and sometimes some fairs would be impossible because in Illinois it's a short period of time, and some fairs are stacked over others as far as racing. Like we're going to be in Urbana, we're not in Lewiston.
Correct.
I mean that's going on. Altamont has a whole week of harness racing.
Yeah.
We're in Charleston and Lincoln.
Yes.
And so, we haven't got to the point yet that we can send two sets of equipment out there. But
we're growing, but yeah, right now it's just we got to be together and working on this stuff, and we can only be in one place at a time right now.
But if you want your county fair for 2024,
reach out. Give me a shout. I don't on Facebook or email or call, anything you've seen on the screen so far, and we will start getting you on the calendar for 2024 and making sure we can get you on the book, because we want to do where people want us, where people want to watch the races. We want to make sure we get to the right places.
Well, and the other thing with that is it costs something for us to go.
Right.
I mean, if people don't realize, Lisa was counting it up today, even with you doing. You've got work on your end that you do once the drivers are set or the races are closed. Then you do your work. You send it to me. I do my work prior to us getting here.
Trophy cooler for the upcoming 7th race, courtesy of Chris Pepmeyer of Remax. And, of course, Chris is someone that is no stranger to horses and no stranger to good horses at that. Has Tennessee walking horses herself and often will assist the folks at the Flacco family farms. We talked to Chris about that a year or two ago, about the fact that so often when the rest of us get to know those good Flacco racehorses, she got to know them a long time before we did, because in many cases she was there helping with foaling right when they were born. So she's had the pleasure of watching many of those Flacco family farms racehorses grow up and become stars at the races. And we appreciate Chris's continued support of racing here at the Knox County Fair. Still waiting for a couple of more trotters, and we'll be set to go.
But a lot of work before we even get here.
Right.
Once we get here, people say, wow, you get to watch horse racing. Well, David can attest. I'm busy during the whole race. I get to glance over to the monitor a little bit with what's going on, but I'm updating those
one
times.
eye on the monitor, you're doing pretty good.
Yep. Updating the times in the post times, and then doing the finishes on the end. And Lisa's overrunning the camera while she does have a monitor. She's watching. She can see the actual race itself,
Right.
but she can't get too involved in it.
Right.
But it takes hours. We were here. What were we here? A little before 3 o'clock today.
I think I got here about 2:30. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're up here and getting situated and trying to make our stuff work with what's here at the track.
And
We have to
every
get
fair
in.
is different.
We have to get into the sound of whatever's happened, so
Yep.
you can hear Ed Teefee or Kurt Becker do the announcing, and
Or David Brink, right?
Or David Brink. Yeah, he does a great job.
Oh,
That was an interesting night.
that was very interesting.
And then we've got to go over to the grandstands a lot of times and find Lisa Power to run the equipment over there. And sometimes it's not the best spot in the world, and Sometimes she's in the sun all
I'm
day.
glad you bring 9 miles of extension cord, because we just try to put her in the best place we can and run cord to her.
Yeah, about 75 foot of cord for today.
I've got 50 in my car, so if we're ever in a pinch, we can get a little further.
But yeah, it takes more than just showing up that day.
Yeah.
You know, we don't show up 5 minutes before. So with that, and then some cases,
and the people on the screen can attest to that. You know, you think, oh, I'm just going to hit the button on my phone and video it, but ask any one of them. There's a lot to it, to paying attention, to keeping track of all that stuff. So we want to thank them all for all their efforts.
And in some days, I mean, we've had as many as 16, 18
Last two
races
horses
in
are
a
headed
day.
to the
This is
track.
one of
Will
the
be on the
shorter
racetrack
days
shortly.
we've
We'll
had,
go ahead and
as
parade to
far
the
as
post
races are
for race
concerned.
7, the
We're almost done, right?
NICA 3-year-old filly trot for the Northern Illinois Colt Association, a purse of $2,375 total. Let's meet the starters. Number 1, Luz Rona will join the field in just a moment. Races for the Flacco family farms of Alexis and co-owner Dr. Stephen Rennard of Hamilton. The trainer Jill Brown. A reminder, Chris Brown will drive number 1. There's the 2, Ingo Bingo Bango, going past the grandstand, owned and driven by Brendan Potts of Springfield. The trainer is Mike Rogers. Number 3 is Luz Lexi Lou, who was a winner here last year, defeating Ingo Bingo Bango by a half length. So number 2 and number 3, those two fillies know each other pretty well. They duked it out here a year ago and were separated by a half length on the line, and it was number 3, Luz Lexi Lou, who won here last year for the Flacco family farms, and co-owner trainer Roshan Trigg. A reminder, Jamaica Patton is the driver. Jamaica Patton in the bike for number 3. Number 4, that is Miss Josie, owned by Kevin and Brooke Bender of Hamilton, trained and driven by Kevin Bender. And number 5 is Kat Dimick, owned by the Flacco family farms of Alexis. Jill Brown of Charleston, and Jill Brown is the trainer and the driver, getting ready to head to the gate for race 7. We talked about the fact you've got stock car racing coming up here tomorrow night at the fair, modified stock car racing. That is always exciting. The Pure Cool Heart Limited Modified Series tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And as the last horse now does come to the track, the reason we point that out is because of the fact Kevin Bender, the co-owner, trainer, and driver of number 4, Miss Josie, he is a big fan of motorsports. And Kevin is very familiar with the backstory of a lot of the famous Iowa race car drivers. You know, our friends in the neighboring state of Iowa, they have turned out some terrific race car drivers over the years. You go all the way back to the first Daytona 500 back in 1959. Johnny Bucamp was originally declared the winner of that race until a photo finish print showed a few days later that Lee Petty had actually beaten him to the finish line. But if you talk to Kevin Bender, he will talk to you about NASCAR and about Midwestern modified and late model drivers. Big fan of the sport. He can remember when Ramo Stott came out of Iowa to sit on the pole at Daytona one year back in the 70s. So if you want to talk horses or talk motorsports, just look up Kevin Bender and you'll have a fun conversation.
So, David, they can get in contact with you to come and have us come and do that, get it on the calendar for next year so that we can get our schedule set. But let's take a look at this race. I mean, there's a lot of familiar horses in this race. And I would say, you know, several of them have a first finish except for Kat
Dimick?
Yeah, Kat Dimick. But that's a horse I've been watching. You know, it's been
finishing stronger,
threes, 2s, and 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, and a lot of
the board
threes.
very consistently, and that goes a long way.
And you're going the inconsistency, you know, in some of these other horses, depending on the race. I think that's the horse I'm going to pick.
There's a lot to be said for consistency.
3-year-old trotting fillies at the post. The gate is rolling for race number 7. Our thanks to our friends with Galesburg Area EMS Ambulance Service. They have been on hand throughout the program, parked on the infield. We cannot race unless they are here, and we appreciate the medical staff being on hand. Here they come, race number 7, lined up on the gate. Thanks to Mitch and Mike Titus, our starters this evening out of Charleston, Illinois. Luz Lexi Lou is off stride, and Ingo Bingo Bango is off stride. Would you believe it, folks? The two fillies that battled for the win here last year as 2-year-olds, they have both broken stride at the start, and Luz Rona is away in good order for the lead. Luz Rona, 3-length lead already after the opening eighth of a mile, headed up the back straightaway. Miss Josie will go second, closing that gap now for Kevin Bender. Then a margin of 2.5 more lengths behind that one to Kat Dimmick in third, and then a gap of another 8 lengths back to Luz Lexi Lou, who's beginning to catch up with those other three after breaking stride, and it's 20 lengths back of her to Ingo Bingo Bango, who is last after the opening quarter mile. Luz Rona is the leader. Miss Josie goes second. 34-4, the time for the opening quarter, 34 4/5 seconds. Luz Rona leads it for Chris Brown by 1.5 lengths. Miss Josie is second for Kevin Bender by 2 lengths. Kat Dimmick is third for driver Jill Brown. Now Luz Lexi Lou and Jamaica Patton, they have comped those top three, so the front four line up nose to tail halfway home here in the Chris Pepmeyer Remax race, and here comes Luz Lexi Lou to the outside. There's a gap of 8 more lengths back to Ingo Bingo Bango, who is fifth and last, but also beginning to catch up with the other four. 106-2, the time for the first half mile, 106-2. So Luz Rona is the leader by 3 lengths over Miss Josie after 5/8 of a mile. Luz Lexi Lou has made up a lot of ground just to get to third. She's toward the outside and lingering for a moment, 5 lengths off the lead. Kat Dimmick is fourth toward her inside, and another 6 lengths back to Ingo Bingo Bango, who is last as they head on to the final turn with Luz Rona, the one to catch. Luz Rona on top by 2.5 lengths. 1:40, the time at the 3/4. 1 minute 40 seconds flat. Luz Rona by 3 by 4. Miss Josie is second by 2. Kat Dimmick is third. Ingo Bingo Bango to fourth. And Luz Lexi Lou broke stride and dropped out to last. It is Luz Rona with a 5-length lead and deep stretch for Chris Brown. Luz Rona for the Flacco Family Farms and Dr. Stephen Rinnard, trained by Jill Brown, driven by Chris Brown. Luz Rona to win it. And she won it by 6 lengths on the line. Close for second, either Miss Josie to the inside or Kat Dimmick from the outside. And then a gap of 25 more lengths to the final two, and that'll be close as well for that fourth position between Ingo Bingo Bango and Luz Lexi Lou. So we'll follow up there, confirm the result further back in the order of finish with our photo finish technician, Denise Titus, in just a moment. In the meantime, last quarter in 29-1, the mile 2:09 1/5. 2:09 1/5, the time for the mile. Luz Rona, your winner, number 1. Horseman, a heads up, our track crew is going to put down a coat or two of water on the racetrack. Racing surface has become a bit dusty here over the last couple of races, so racing officials have conferred. So Horseman, if you would stand by, that water truck is a big one. That is a big water truck, and in the interest of everyone's safety, equine and human alike, Horseman, stand by. We will call you to the track for race 8 in just a moment. But again, right now, the track crew is going to apply a coat or two of water to the racing surface. So horsemen, stand by. Well, the husband and wife duo of Chris Brown and Jill Brown, each driving horses in race 7, and the bragging rights, at least for this race, will go to the hubby. Chris Brown, your winning driver here in the 7th race. How about a hand for the winner, number 1, Luz Rona. And being that this filly is a homebred for the Flacco Family Farms, a special presentation, no doubt, as we talked about the fact that Chris Pepmeyer of Remax sponsors the trophy cooler for this race, sporting that Knox County Fair logo. And given Chris's friendship with the Flacco family, and given the fact that Luz Rona, a homebred who grew up on the Flacco Family Farms, I guarantee you this is a fun moment for everybody moving in trackside. A very special winner's circle photo here, as Dr. Stephen Rinnard also owns an interest in this 3-year-old Luz Legacy filly out of OG Southern Divine by Divine Guidance. 2nd win of the year, 5th career win for Luz Rona. trained by Jill Brown. So Jill does still get some bragging rights as the trainer of this filly, and husband Chris in the race bike. Congratulations, one and all, Luz Rona. Again, the time for the mile, 2:09 and 1/5. 2:09 and a fifth. We'll sort through the full field rundown and pass that along to you here in just a moment. Again, horsemen stand by as the water truck gets ready to make its tour around this half-mile racetrack. We'll call you to the field, to the track here in just a moment or two, but stand by. Track conditioning about to get underway before we head into these final 3 races on the card. We also owe you a pick-a-winner drawing. We'll do that in just a moment.
Well, David, they're trying to figure out who finished second, third, who finished fourth, and fifth here. So a lot of conversations going on, and so that's why I don't have the others up there yet. Los Rona was the winner of the race. That was pretty clear.
Yeah, you know, and that's like I said, Flacco's owned that one and bred that one, so kind of a hometown favorite. Big winner circles are always great.
Looks
Chris
like the
Petmeyer
$10 pick-a-winner goes to Braden. And we've been discussing the last name, perhaps Wohord? Braden? Is there a Braden over in the grandstand? If so, Braden, give us a wave. Yep, way toward the top. Excellent. Here comes your $10, Braden. Good job. Going with the home team, you might say, with Luz Rona there picking up that victory. It was great to see everybody trackside. The Flacco family, Dr. Renard was down there as well, enjoying that win. Way at the top of the stands as our pick-a-winner ushers move all the way up toward the top. Tabby, those pick-a-winner ushers, you're pretty familiar with them, are you not? Yes, 3 of them, right? So the Flacco children, thanks for your help tonight. Those 3 young members of the Flacco family have been doing a great job. How about a hand for our pick-a-winner ushers this evening, folks? Good work. Again, still waiting to confirm the result of the photo for second and third, and also to separate fourth and fifth. And then we will give you that full field rundown. Again, horseman heads up. Water truck is just about to head on to the racetrack. And want you to be aware, horseman water truck is on its way to the track, so heads up.
Okay, David, we can't say it any better than Kurt did, but close race there for
close race. And I think watching the replay on my laptop over here, I think Miss Josie and Kevin Bender got up for second, and congrats to them, because Kevin comes down from Hamilton, like I said, comes down to Brown County Fair and trains to kind of teach his horses some speed. He trains on his little home track. I'm not sure how big his track is, but to go to simulate a mile, he comes down to our fair and uses our track in our stables, and he had put in a nice solid mile, and I think he was second there.
Yeah, I was going to say Kat Dimick would get second to keep my run going with second place finishes there.
But look close. I want you to point something out here. Miss Josie, if you look back last year at Lewiston, about 7-6, about 3 lines down, you can see the start. The driver, D.A. Bowen.
In addition to those photos for second and fourth, there is also a steward's inquiry into the stretch drive, the final 1/8 of a mile of race 7, focusing on number 2, Ingo Bingo Bango, and number 3, Luz Lexi Lou. So our chief steward, Mr. Brad Dye, has called for a steward's inquiry. Does not concern any of the top 3 in the unofficial result, but does concern the 4th and 5th place finishers. So Brad will take testimony by 2-way radio via the starting gate car as soon as he can get a word by 2-way radio with the 2 drivers involved in the inquiry, Jamaica Patton and Brendan Potts. So that is the reason we have not yet declared the entire full field rundown official. As soon as the steward's inquiry wraps up, we will pass that along to you. Keep in mind, that is a steward's right. Sometimes there are claims of foul. Sometimes a driver will relay word that he or she is lodging an objection or a claim of foul. That's not the case here. but it is still the right of the stewards, based on their own observations, to conduct a steward's inquiry. A lot of times it's just a matter of the steward wants to talk to both drivers before he makes the result official and ask exactly what happened in this case during the stretch drive between the next to last and last place finishers. More in just a moment.
Good explanation by Kurt Becker.
Kurt's
I mean,
so good. Yeah.
he gives so much information, and Ed Teefee does a great job too. I mean, that's why we rely on the track announcers. They're giving us what's happening that they can see. We're taking care of the technical stuff on the background and kind of filling in some holes.
And we have some amazing announcers in the state, like I've mentioned before, between Ed Teefee, Kurt, Carl Becker. You know,
the full field rundown is now official
levels
for race 7, and in this particular case, what had happened was our chief steward, Brad Dye, had noticed it was close quarters racing down the home stretch coming to the wire between the 2 Ingo Bingo Bango and the 3 Lou's Lexi Lou, and he simply wanted to check with each driver and conduct an inquiry before he made the result official. And sometimes when the close quarters racing, there's that old saying, you'll hear the stock car drivers say, rubbin' is racing, and sometimes that's the case too. Sometimes events unfold, it's just one of them racing deals, as you will hear competitors say sometimes. So close quarters racing, but no claims of foul, no placings. Therefore, the steward's inquiry has been concluded. We are good to go. Here is the full field rundown for race 7. Lou's Rona was the winner. Ingo Bingo Bango finished 5. Lou's Lexi Lou was 4. Miss Josie finished runner-up, and Kat Dimmick was 3rd. The opening quarter went in 34 and 4, the half in 106 and 2, 3 quarters in 140, and the time for the mile 2:09 and a fifth. It reads down 1:54.23. Race 8 is on the way,
And we're good with Bender.
and there will be no driver change in race 8. That was earlier at the top of the show. We had commented on the mic that there would be a driver change in race 8. That is incorrect. The drivers shown in the program, we are expecting to see each of these 5 drivers in their respective race bikes as scheduled. Race 8 coming up.
All right, with that, let's take a quick station break. We'll be back after these messages.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
If you could stand by in the stable area, water truck will do some track conditioning, and then once that is complete, then we will call you to the track for that 9th race. Right now, here's the field for race 8. This is the Wisdom Financial of Galesburg Trophy Cooler, 3-year-old colt and gelding trot in the Northern Illinois Colt Association for a purse of $2,479. No changes in race 8. Number 1, Kinky Paco, owned, trained, and driven by Kevin Bender, co-owned by his wife, Brooke Bender of Hamilton, Illinois. 2 is RNK's Valley Bar, the owner-trainer-driver, Orville Bronkhorst of Brandon, Wisconsin. 3, Loy's Trot and Bro, owned by Jackson Loy of Beecher City, trained and driven by Mike Rogers. Number 4 is YF Peanut, owned, trained, and driven by Jerome Daniels of Springfield. And number 5, Judge Me Not, owned by Ron Phillips of Athens, Jamaica Patton of Rochester, and Sherry Boldovich, who is on hand this evening, visiting us from her home in Lakewood, Colorado. Jamaica Patton, the trainer, and Jamaica Patton, also the driver. Headed to the gate, race 8.
David Brink back on harness.
Horses are approaching the starting gate. Mike Titus and son Mitch teaming up as our starters here this evening. And Mitch has extended the wings on the gate and calls for the field now for race number 8, brought to you by our friends at Wisdom Financial. At the post, and the gate is rolling. Number 3, Loy's Trottenbro, owned by Jackson Loy of Beecher City, a community of 500 people located a little further downstate, just north of Effingham. We talked about the Demolition Derby coming up here this coming Saturday night, and Jackson Loy is someone who has not only owned racehorses, but also has driven his share of demolition derbies over the years. Don't believe he ever came up quite this far into this portion of the state on the county fair circuit, but further down around the I-70 corridor has run his share of cars. A lot of General Motors mid-70s shock-bumpered sedans and station wagons, and a lot of success behind the wheel of demolition derby cars for Jackson Loy. Right now, here they come, race 8. They are off and trotting. There goes Judge Me Not from that far outside starting spot, almost out in the box seats, and now cruises on by with a 3-wide move. Oh, but he's off stride. How about that? Judge Me Not was making a bid for the lead, made a break, and now Kinky Paco is off stride as well. Judge Me Not is already back on the trot, but is second. By the time it all sorts out, YF Peanut is the leader. YF Peanut on top by a length. Judge Me Not drops over along the inside lane to catch a breather in second position as they go to the quarter-mile mark. Loy's Trottenbro, the horse owned by Jackson Loy, is racing in third. Then a gap of 5 more lengths back to RNK's Valley Bar, who is fourth. 33 seconds for the opening quarter, 33 seconds flat. And then there's a gap of another 7 lengths back to the trailer as they come toward the half. Kinky Paco, after making that break on the first turn, Kinky Paco is fifth and last. Back up at the front of the field, YF Peanut, the leader for Jerome Daniels. YF Peanut leads by a length and a half halfway home here in the Wisdom Financial race, race 8. And then Judge Me Not, who recovered from that early break in stride, is now right there in good position, second behind the leader, headed back to the east end of the racetrack. Gap of 3 lengths, Loy's Trottenbro third. 103-1 for the first half mile, 103-1. 5 more lengths back of Loy's Trottenbro. We find RNK's Valley Bar in fourth, and 5 back of that one, Kinky Paco is last. And here comes a challenge for the lead. Midpoint of the backstretch, Judge Me Not takes toward the outside. Still a length off the leader, though, and YF Peanut has the lead along the inside lane with a quarter mile to go. Leads it by 3/4 of a length. Judge Me Not is second as these two trotters go at it onto the final turn in the setting sun here at the Knox County Fair. Less than a length separate the top two. YF Peanut has a short lead. 135-2, the time at the 3/4, 135-2. YF Peanut turns back the challenge, at least to this point, of Judge Me Not. They straighten away for home, and here comes Judge Me Not again. YF Peanut leads at a length. Judge Me Not is second. They stay that way. It'll be close, but it will be YF Peanut winning it by 3/4 of a length on the line. Judge Me Not, with a big effort after that early break in stride, did come back to be second, and then it was a gap of another 15 lengths to Loy's Trottenbro in third, a similar margin back to RNK's Valley Bar in fourth, and then Kinky Paco in fifth. Time for the mile, 2:04 and 2. 2:04 and 2/5, the last quarter in 29 seconds flat. YF Peanut, number 4, your winner. Horsemen, stand by. Water truck is getting ready to head to the track. So horsemen for the 9th race, stand by, track conditioning, and then as soon as the water truck wraps up and the track crew is finished, then we will call you to the track for race 9. Stand by. Again, horsemen for the 9th race, stand by. Track crew, we're ready for the water truck. Everybody's clearing the track. So track crew, we're ready for the water truck for track conditioning. Well, that is 2 driving victories on the night and 2 training victories on the evening for that gentleman in the green and black driving colors. How about a hand for Mr. Jerome Daniels out of Springfield, Illinois with YF Peanut. Earlier this evening, Jerome picked up a victory with TVS Cosmac. He was the co-owner of that horse, so we don't want to shortchange Jerome. That's 2 wins for him as owner, trainer, and driver. So, Jerome, well done, and congratulations. The winning breeder is Mr. Doug Graham. YF Peanut is by the reigning Illinois Trotting Stallion of the Year, Lou's Legacy, who, of course, stands at the Flacco Family Farms. Out of Skillful Quacker by Powerful Emotion. That is a first career victory. YF Peanut did not race as a 2-year-old last year, has been very consistent, has never been worse than 3rd in 6 starts now in 2023, and picks up his first career win, 2:04 and 2. 2 minutes, 4 and 2/5 seconds. Pretty nifty time for the mile by our winner, YF Peanut. Water truck is now filled with water and ready to go. So here comes the water truck for the track conditioning, of which we spoke. Again, a big thanks to our track crew. They've done a tremendous job conditioning this half-mile racetrack. Pick a winner, $10. Heidi Lavrith. Heidi, where are you? Give us a wave. Heidi Lavrith, you have won $10 in the Pick a Winner draw. Congratulations to Heidi, winning here in race 8. Also, thanks again to our friends at Wisdom Financial, sponsoring the trophy cooler that went to Jerome Daniels for winning race 8 with YF Peanut. Heidi Lavrith, way up toward the top. Here she comes. I believe that's Heidi coming down the steps to meet our ushers halfway and to pick up that $10. There we go. That connection is now made about midway up the stairway. So Heidi Lavrith, congratulations. All right, Judge, are we official with our full field rundown for race 8? Check with Mr. Brad Dye. Thank you, sir. And here is that order of finish for race 8. From the top, Kinky Paco finished 5. RNK's Valley Bar finished 4. Lois Trottin' Bro was 3rd. YF Peanut, the winner. And Judge Me Not, the runner-up. The opening quarter, 33 seconds. The half in 1:03 and 1. 3 quarters, 1:35 and 2/5. The time for the mile, 2:04 and 2. Reads down, 5:43, 1, 2. Again, horsemen, stand by. As soon as the track conditioning is complete, we'll call you to the track, so stand by right now. The water truck taking care of business over there on the back straightaway, headed up toward the west end of the track. Horsemen, stand by.
David, we've heard from some more people on the backstretch.
We have a loyal watcher. We have the Prathers tuning in from Rushville, Illinois. Sandy emailed and said they were watching from home, baking chocolate chip cookies. So it sounds like a nice night at the Prather household.
Tell them we'll be by to pick them up on our way home.
On our way home, yeah, we'll stop by and grab a to-go bag, right?
Yeah,
a couple each. That'd be all right.
Yeah. And we're headed back this way on Wednesday, so if she wants to cook more for us to take on the trip
we'll always
up,
take them. Yeah. I hate cookies. I hate snacks. That's a horrible thing to have around here.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thanks, Prathers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for, consistently tuning in. They've been following us from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, happy to have them on board. And you can do the same by going to harnesstube@gmail.com. You can send us a picture. We're going to put a collage of those together. Yeah. If you've got a picture.
Our racing officials said they just wanted that one quick coat of water around the track to settle some of the dust. So, again, our thanks to the track crew. Well done. We appreciate it. And that means with the water truck and the water service of the racetrack and the racing surface complete, we are ready to go once again. So, horsemen, you may come to the track with race number 9. Folks, good to have you with us on a Monday evening at the Knox County Fair. A whole lot yet to come this week. The limited modifieds here tomorrow night, the tractor and truck pulls on Wednesday, the concert on Thursday, figure 8 races Friday, demolition derby Saturday. The carnival opens here tomorrow evening, so a lot of fun on the way. Again, visit the Knox County Fair on Facebook or visit them at www.knoxfair.com. 8 races in the books, 2 races to go. A reminder, in the upcoming 9th race, the driver of the 1, Roland Ross, is Jamaica Patton. Number 1, Roland Ross, Jamaica Patton will be your driver.
Okay, David, 3-horse race this time.
3-horse race.
Now, here's a betting question. With only 3 horses, can you still do the trifecta on a bet?
Well, if you were at a parimutuel track where you were able to bet, they wouldn't let you bet the trifecta on this. they probably actually would cancel the first 2 finishers and probably just have win betting for.
Okay.
Something
For
like
those
this.
people at home trying to maybe mock what's going on out there at the parimutuel races, it's kind of like knowing in poker what beats what. You need to know those things so that you can make a smart wager.
My thoughts are always don't overcomplicate the betting. Just pick a horse you like and cheer for him. Pick a color you like and cheer. Find something about the one individual in this race and find somebody to root for, and it makes it twice as fun.
Now, an example of what Lisa and I have done for years, and we did this in Springfield when we went over to Springfield a couple of weeks ago to watch on Friday, on one of the Friday Hawthorne races, is we literally picked the order. If there's 6 horses, we picked the 6
One
horses.
quick note regarding the winner of race 8, YF Peanut. That Lose Legacy colt was represented by Flacco Family Farms as a yearling at the Illini Classic. We talked earlier about the fact that when you go to that Illini Classic, the Flacco Family Farms, they will offer not only homebreds of their own, but they will often offer yearlings that are bred by clients of theirs. And that was the case with YF Peanut. That was not a homebred for the Flacco Family Farms, but was one that they represented on sale day. By the way, Flacco Family Farms, they will be representing horses not only at the Illini Classic, but also at the Land of Lincoln sale. So the Land of Lincoln sale in Sherman, that'll be on Saturday, September 2nd. I know they have at least one that they've gotten the sale there. And then the bulk of the Flacco Family Farms consignment at the Illini Classic on Labor Day, Monday, September the 4th. Quick note, overheard, since we here on the infield and the judges stand, we have got the harness tube anchor crew of Steve Surratt and David Brink, and they just were having an interesting discussion, and they were right on target because the discussion came up. If this were a parimutuel racetrack and you look at race number 9 and we've only got 3 horses in the race, could you still bet a trifecta? Could you still bet a race where the trifecta, you've got to pick the top 3 finishers in order, first, second, and third? And David and Steve were exactly right. They were just discussing that. David Brink said no, not in a case like this, and he's exactly right. Racing board rules might vary from state to state, but the general rule, if memory serves, is you add 2, essentially. So if you've got a trifecta wager, you better have at least 5 horses going to the gate. If you have an exacta wager on a race where you have to bet the top 2 to finish in exact order, first and second, you better have at least 4 horses going to the gate. So no parimutuel wagering here tonight. It's one of the things that is so much fun is the county fairs offer a different atmosphere, grassroots racing, but that discussion does bring up an interesting point on the part of Steve and David. Gentlemen, you are absolutely correct. Overheard the conversation, and you guys were spot on from start to finish.
Thank you. It's good to know that we're talking about pertinent topics here.
I just like that Kurt Becker is saying we're doing a good job over here.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
So, no.
That's pretty awesome. Let's take a look at this third race. I'm trying to look to see if we've really seen anything that Rockin' Roz was in Decatur. That's in Rushville.
Rollin' and Roz belongs to a couple. Yeah, Eric and Rosalind James from down in McGee, Mississippi, and that as a 2-year-old was the best. One of the best in the state in that class, and you can see she made $137,000, most of that being 2-year-old year. The 2-horse also would be out of the same mare as one of our horses, so I kind of been following it a little bit, too. So it'll be an interesting race.
Yeah, they've had a couple of first-place finishes.
Horses are on the track, and they're headed up toward the west end of this half-mile layout toward the upturn on their way in clockwise fashion to meet the starter for race number 9. The free-for-all pace for a purse of $1,000, a free-for-all pace simply means that this race is open to any registered standardbred that is a pacer and is of racing age. Of course, a horse has to be a minimum of 2 years of age in order to be eligible to race. And if memory serves, age 14, that's usually the top end of that age spectrum for racehorses, at least in the standardbred game. So if you are a registered pacer, age 2 to 14, you qualify for the free-for-all. The sponsor of the Trophy Cooler, our thanks to Drs. James and Valerie Nesselrode for sponsoring the cooler for race number 9. What a way to lead off the field with number 1, a 2-time Illinois State Fair champion, Rollin' Roz, winner of the Illinois State Fair Championship Final as a 2-year-old and again as a 3-year-old last year, owned by Eric and Rosalind Janes of McGee, Mississippi, trained by Roshan Trigg. The driver will be Jamaica Patton. 2 is double parked, owned and trained by Kevin Miller of Arthur, the driver Wyatt Avenetti. And number 3 is Mock Diesel, owned by the Flacco Family Farms of Alexis, trained and driven by Jill Brown, approaching the starting gate right now on the backstretch.
So this could be an interesting race based on what Kurt had to say there.
I just want to make one little note here. If you look back on Double Parked last start out, she was third. Raced a really good mile. Actually put a big move in that mile. But over on the far right, you can see the top 3 finishers: Bombay Parkway, My Uptown Girl, and Double Parked. Interesting note between those two. Bombay Parkway is a horse we train and put in a good mile. But those two, between Bombay Parkway and Double Parked, they're both by the mare Park on the Road. They're sisters, 2 years apart, and they were 1-3 in that mile last Friday. It was pretty cool to watch. That the mare represented on the board, finishing first and third in the same race.
And I know I asked this before.
At the post gates, rolling top of the stretch, out of the setting sun comes a field of 3 free-for-all pacers. Here they come. They are off and pacing. A beautiful start for these 3, and there goes Double Park from between horses out for the early lead. Roland Roz off stride. The 2-time Illinois State Fair champion broke stride along the inside lane, heading down into that first turn, and is now back on the pace and trying to catch up with the other 2, and she's going to do that in the blink of an eye. Already, she's caught back up. Midpoint of the backstretch, Double Parked is the leader, and there goes Mock Diesel looking toward the outside. Roland Roz backs away for now into the 3rd position. Jamaica Patton says, easy, girl. We've caught the other 2. We don't have to circle the field right now. We can just wait and sit tight and catch a breather around that upper turn as they race past the quarter-mile mark. 32 seconds flat was the time for the first quarter, 32 seconds flat. So a sensible pace here, and that also works to the advantage of Roland Roz, who had to catch up with those other 2, had to make up about 7 or 8 lengths after breaking stride. But again, a sensible pace up front, so that enables her to catch the other 2. Let's see what she can do from here. Double Parked is the leader. Halfway home here in race 9, Double Parked leads it by just 1 length. Mock Diesel is second, and Roland Roz is racing in third. 1:02 flat. The time for the first half mile, 1:02 flat. These 3 free-for-all pacers line up nose to tail after 5/8 of a mile, headed off the turn and onto the backstretch, moving from east to west here along the back straightaway at the Knox County Fair. Double Parked is the leader. Here's Mock Diesel. Mock Diesel takes to the outside to challenge. A half length separates the top 2, and Roland Roz is third, 2.5 lengths off the front pair with a quarter mile to go. Double Parked still has the lead along the inside lane, 3/4 of a length. Mock Diesel second, a length and a half, and then Roland Roz. 1:34.4, the time at the 3/4, 1:34.4. Double Parked leads it again by a full length at the top of the stretch. Mock Diesel will make another try, and Roland Roz is third, 3 lengths off the lead. It is Double Parked the leader. Double Parked, a 16th of a mile to go, leads it by a length. Mock Diesel still trying, still second. Here's the wire. Double Parked wins it by 3/4 of a length. Mock Diesel was second, and then 6 more lengths back to Roland Roz across the line in third. Second driving win on the card for Wyatt Avenatti, and that will tie him with Jerome Daniels with 2 wins apiece to lead all drivers here this evening. We'll check the time for the mile, and it is 2:01 and 2. 2:01 and 2/5 of a second. We'll meet the winner, Double Parked, in just a moment. Horsemen, you may come to the track with the 10th and final race. $10 in the pick-a-winner draw. We need to find Mike Breeze. Where are you, Mike Breeze? There he is, right down front, just east of the start-finish line. Mike Breeze, right down front in the green shirt. Congratulations, $10 coming your way. Thank you, bud. Richard Finn picked up those 2 wins early, so apologies to Richard. Going back and looking through the program, tell you win early on the card, and people tend to forget as the night goes on. So, Richard, apologies. 2 wins for Richard Finn this evening, 2 for Jerome Daniels, and 2 for Wyatt Avenatti. So 3 drivers with 2 wins apiece. Don't want to neglect the gentleman that had the success literally right out of the gate here tonight. Well, here's the most recent of those 3 to score a driving double. How about a hand for Wyatt Avenatti with Double Parked? Double Parked is a 6-year-old Illinois-bred mare owned and trained by Kevin Miller, and that is 2 wins for Kevin Miller tonight as owner and as trainer. 2 wins for Wyatt Avenatti as driver. There is the Knox County Fair cooler, which has been handed off to our winning connections by Rick Flacco. Thanks again to Jamie and Val Nesselrode with their family practice and their love of racing. We appreciate their sponsorship here in race number 9. Double Parked winning for the 18th time in her.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
And 2/5. Reach down 3-1-2. 10th race is on the way. No scratches. A reminder: the driver change on the 2 Luzotic, Tony Farina. Luzotic number 2, the driver Tony Farina.
And
a reminder: medication number 1, Galway races with Lasix. Number 1, Galway receives Lasix, the anti-bleeding medication. We talked about this at the top of the program tonight at 5 o'clock. And you take a 1,000-pound animal moving at 30 miles an hour, and sometimes there can be hemorrhaging just because of the fact that moving at that rate of speed with an animal that large, there can be membranes that can rupture, and it manifests itself with a trickle of blood from the nose. Not something we like to talk about, but yet when the topic of Lasix comes up, the good news is that's why Lasix is administered in those cases. A trainer will talk to the veterinarian and say, look, I've got a horse who bled in his or her last start. I want to put this horse on Lasix. I don't want that happening to my horse. It's all done in the best interest of the horse. Now, here's what we're going to do. In that last race, we talked about the fact that that sounded like a pretty fast last quarter in that 9th race. So the racing officials have conferred, and the 3/4 time was actually 1:32.4. So if you like to keep records in your program for accuracy, let's clear that up right now. In the 9th race, 3/4, 1 minute, 32.4 seconds. Time for the mile, 2:01.2. Still a nice last quarter. They still got home in 29.3 of a second. That brings us up to race number 10. Horsemen come to the track, 10th race.
Hey, David, he was reading my mind because that was one of my notes that I had on. I was talking about the Lasix, and he did a great explanation again. You know, folks, if you think people don't watch horse racing or don't come to races because of lack of knowledge, Kurt Becker, Ed Teefee, they try to educate people so that you can understand what's going on.
They do a great job.
And you don't have that unless you're watching on TV in an NBA game.
Right.
I mean, you've got that sitting here live. They are giving the people in the stands that information.
And, you know, I liken it to we're so lucky to have them in this state. I liken it to the fact that the success that Tony Romo's had on the NFL broadcast in trying to read the quarterback's mind and predict, you know, what's going to happen. And these guys are in the mind of horsemen. They are horsemen. Mm-hmm. You know, but they're also professional broadcasters, so they know the public, and they know the gap, the knowledge gap that exists, and they tried to very carefully, you know, just lead the crowd along the way, along the story that we're trying to tell out here with these races.
And I want to give my wife credit for doing a lot of good camera work. And I give you an example, folks. If you look at that screen, we have got filters on there to filter that down. You wouldn't be able to see the track if we didn't do that to the camera.
Right.
We darken things up so that light does not destroy everything.
Yep. And like Kurt was saying, you know, when you look towards the sun with a camera or binoculars or whatever, the detail just gets washed so bad. So yeah, Lisa's been doing a great job setting us up over there, taking care of us. I didn't get over there in reliever today, did I?
No, 10 races, and I have to be honest with you, David. She's got a nurse's bladder, so she doesn't need a nurse thing. And she is so into this. It's like if you go reliever and she comes back, you better let her have the camera back.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah, she just absolutely loves what we're doing, as all of us do.
She has such great questions, and she thinks of them. She said she was out walking the other morning and thinking of stuff to ask.
Even if it's about barn cats,
hey,
right?
We'll answer it if we can.
As they're getting ready to go here, our final race. We'll be back.
I do have one announcement after this post-parade. So.
Okay.
Our thanks to Mike Jones Horseshoeing of North Henderson, the trophy cooler sponsor for the 10th and final race on this card at the 172nd Annual Knox County Fair. The free-for-all trot for a purse of $1,000. Again, this race open in this case to any registered standard-bred trotter, age 2 to 14. Let's meet the starters. Number 1 is Galway, owned by David Gingerick of Charlton, Iowa, trained by Jill Brown. Chris Brown is in the bike. Number 2 is Luzotic, owned by the Flacco family farms of Alexis, trained by Steve Searle. The driver, contrary to the program, Tony Farina. And number 3, Nimble Trimble, owned, trained, and driven by Orville Bronkhorst of Brandon, Wisconsin. It's been great to have you with us, folks. We appreciate your spending your Monday evening with us here at the Knox County Fair. Again, the fair continues throughout the week and all the way through this coming Saturday. The carnival, courtesy of Bowdoin Amusements, will be up and running here tomorrow night. Horsemen, thank you for your support of racing. Also to all of our race sponsors here tonight. Again, a training double for Kevin Miller and Jerome Daniels, and a driving double for Richard Finn, Jerome Daniels, and Wyatt Avenetti. 2 wins apiece for owners Kevin Miller and Jerome Daniels. Been a great card. Been good to have you with us for it. Headed to the gate for race 10. Horsemen, if you would be so kind as to return your saddle pad numbers to the area where you picked them up near the racing office earlier today. I know the racing officials would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
And David, you had an announcement you wanted to make?
Yeah, real quick here. I got an email from Jody Bennett. That's Bobby Decker's daughter, and it's she's been doing a great job keeping us updated on him. But this is unrelated. This is actually related to Petersburg. Jody says that Petersburg will start at 6:30, and that they do have lights. A couple got broken in 21, and she talked to Ben Hollis and double confirmed and got pictures that the lights are up, and we are go for 6:30 at Petersburg.
Now, another note here, and Kurt talked about it a little bit, that there is rain in the late week forecast, and
for Henry,
for the Henry County Fair, or I should say Henry,
tuned.
Illinois, at the Marshall
Putnam. Yep.
And they're talking about rain times because Hawthorne's racing
and they are
Thursday,
at the post.
Friday
The gate is rolling for race 10. Number 2, Luzotic. What a career it has been for her. 7 years of age now. She's won $378,000, 32 career wins. You know where her first win came? Take a guess. That's right here at the Knox County Fair. Luzotic, her first career victory came right here in 2018 as a 2-year-old. What a career it has been and continues to be. Here they come. Free-for-all trot. Galway, Luzotic, Nimble Trimble lined up on the gate. Thanks for being with us. Thank you for joining us online through Harness Tube as well. And Luzotic with an awkward move, and there's going to be a recall, which means we're going to wave off the start. Folks, this is the equivalent in motorsports when a field of race cars comes to the starter stand, and all of a sudden the starter withdraws the green flag and holds up one finger and says, nope, we're going to give you one more lap, and then we'll start the race. So we've waved off the start. The recall signaled by starter Mitch Titus, who threw the switch, and the flashing red lights atop the starting gate began to glow, and the starter signaled to those 3 drivers recall through the PA system atop the starting gate. There are any number of reasons specified in the rule book by both the United States Trotting Association and the Illinois Racing Board which justify a recall. It can be broken equipment. It can be a horse lined up in the wrong starting position. It can also be when interference is committed behind the gate. Sometimes a horse will drift over to the left or to the right and impede the progress of another horse before the start. So we'll check with our starter in just a moment and specify the reason for that recall.
As we were saying, David, there's rain in the forecast.
There is.
And the tracks are already talking
We
to
talked
each
about
other.
the fact that number 2, Lou Zodic, was off stride coming down for the start. That's because the starter had noticed interference. The 1 and the 2, Galway and Lou Zodic, drifted toward each other, interfered with each other, got into each other's lane. You know the old saying, stay in your lane? Well, that's why people say that. Stay in your lane. And what happened here, and it happens from time to time. Folks, you can imagine this is like any form of sport or competition. Things don't always go according to plan. It's not that things are intentional in terms of interference. Sometimes, these horses, they're not race cars. These are horses that have a mind of their own. You take a living, breathing creature in terms of a horse and put another living, breathing creature in the race bike in terms of a human being and try to accomplish a goal in a race. Sometimes that horse gets a mind of its own. So interference, the 1 and the 2, Galway and Lou Zodic, interfered with each other behind the gate. No harm, no foul, because we get another try at the start. We're all going to line up and try it again over there on the far turn. Just about set for another shot at the start.
Let's see if we can do this again. Maybe not. But keep tuned for what's happening as far as weather's concerned.
Yeah, and check the Facebook, and we'll try to keep you updated as we know more coming on the weather playing out for Wednesday.
Here they come. And this time, we are off and starting with a clean start as Galway goes out for the early lead from that inside lane as Nimble Trimble will quickly drop over right behind the early leader into the second position, and Lou Zodic is away third, but right there with the other 2. Tony Farina was very careful down the stretch for the start with Lou Zodic, kept that mare a couple of lengths off the starting gate and settles at the back of the pack. That's one of the benefits of a 3-horse field. Tony knows he doesn't have to worry about dealing with a lot of traffic in this race, so he is content to let Lou Zodic just take it easy here early on, and she will trail past the quarter-mile mark. It is Galway who has the early lead by just 1 length. Nimble Trimble is there in second by 2 lengths, and Lou Zodic is in third. 35 and 2 for the opening quarter, a leisurely pace for these free-for-all trotters, 35 and 2/5 of a second. It is Galway who shows the way after 3/8 of a mile for driver Chris Brown. Galway is on top by 1.5 lengths. Nimble Trimble for Wisconsin's Orville Bronkhorst travels in the second position, and then Lou Zodic. Now here's Lou Zodic. Here comes that $378,000 winning trotting mare from last up into first. Tony Farina says now it is time to go. And they have moved up through the stretch past the half-mile mark and have taken over the lead, headed back around the east turn of the racetrack. Lou Zodic drops back over along the inside lane, leading it by 2 lengths, 108 and 1. And no doubt Tony Farina said, all right, this pace is pretty leisurely, and that's why he said it's time to go now and not wait till later in the race. And as a result, Lou Zodic is in complete control with a quarter-mile to go and leads it by a widening 5-length margin. Nimble Trimble is second, and now Galway, the distant trailer, another 15 lengths back in third. 1:39 and 3 was the time at the 3/4-mile mark. 1 minute 39 and 3/5 seconds. Lou Zodic, 1/8 of a mile to go, has the lead. The advantage is some 3.5 lengths. Nimble Trimble is in second. Galway is in third. Here comes Lou Zodic. Got her first career win here as a 2-year-old. She's now 7. This is career win number 33 for Lou Zodic, who just opens up down the stretch and wins it by 8 lengths. Lou Zodic is your winner, another winner on the card for the Flacco family farms and their sire, Lou's Legacy. It was Nimble Trimble home second and Galway finishing in third. Time for the mile, 2:07 and 4. 2:07 and 4/5.
That was a good race.
That was a good race. And congrats to Tony Farina on that drive. Getting to drive a quality horse like Lou Zodic, close to, $400,000.
Is Robert Meyer still in the house? Yep, there he is. Robert, you did what we call bookending the card, buddy. You got the first pick a winner tonight. You get the last pick a winner draw tonight. So congratulations, Robert Meyer. Well done.
All right, David, let's do
And here comes the trophy cooler, courtesy of Mike Jones, horseshoer of North Henderson. Our own Tabby Flacco will bring it trackside as Lou Zodic has scored the win, and we'll meet the winner here in just a moment.
Well, folks, I want to let you know that you can advertise with us. You can get a hold of David Brink for doing that on Facebook, on HarnessTube, or YouTube at HarnessTubeIL, or send him an email. At harnesstube@gmail.com, or call him at 312-772-5122. And we've got about 10 dates left, so plenty of harness racing for people to invest in.
This is the peak time. This is the time where horses are really kind of coming together. The races are getting tighter. Yeah, this is the time people are going to be watching, so let's get your ads on there.
And we have people from all over the United States watching, so that if you're a national advertiser, this is the place you want to be.
Or if you're across the whole state.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing is, you say, well, I've got a business, or I'm interested in it, I really appreciate what you want to do. You can donate to this, and you go to Venmo or to PayPal and go harnesstube@gmail.com at Venmo or PayPal. And supporter, you can send him an old-fashioned check at P.O. Box
63.
And Mount Sterling,
I'll
Illinois.
get it right, 63.
Okay. And don't forget to like or subscribe us. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please, yes.
And if you've had some parties in the past, you guys from Mississippi, Pennsylvania, send us pictures. Send us some pictures. We'd like to see pictures of your party.
We want to see anybody watching or hanging out. You know, even if you're watching from the barn area, take a photo. We want to get some pictures of you out there.
And we want to thank the people that have been videoing this prior. I need to get that screen better on there. I want to
thank you to everybody for stepping up.
And so that's going to be it for us today, as the final has finished here. And we're just happy to be on board and doing what we do. Thank you for watching Harness Tube. We hopefully will talk to you at 4:30. We'll be on the air on Wednesday. So with that, David Brink, Steve Surratt, Lisa Surratt, we all say goodbye and drive.